host of the daily WNN Trento Vision Show. Due to the unparalleled success of the Trento Vision Show, you now have an amazing opportunity to advertise on the Trento Vision Show. If you want more information about this excellent opportunity for your business, please contact Tom Trento at 561-319-5533, or you can email him, tom@trentovision.tv. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trento Vision is hosted by Tom Trento. Tom can be reached at 561-319-5533 or tom@trentovision.tv. Listen and watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and trentovision.tv. Now, let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
Okay, here we are, folks, ready to go on a beautiful Thursday. Man, this is a bizarre Thursday. We have so much national security information that all of you driving need to, go to a park or something, pull over and listen to the show for the next 3 hours, okay? Just tell it's Valentine's Day, isn't it? CJ, say hello, CJ. CJ, say hello.
I'm not CJ. I'm Mark.
Oh, you're Mark.
That's right.
What are you doing there?
I'm filling in for CJ.
Oh, so you're not...
CJ's taking a CJ day. Here.
You're not disembodied. You're not disembodied Mark. You're
right.
Embodied Mark.
CJ has some business to take care of today.
She had some stuff to do. We're going to miss her on Valentine's Day. All the Valentine's things we had for her,
We
too.
give all the women off on every year. We give them Valentine's Day off on Trento Vision.
That's right.
Just to celebrate Valentine's. That's how we roll.
We should extend our sincere Valentines to all the women out there. To all the women out
Happy
there.
VD Day to everybody. Yes.
We wish you, and for every single woman watching or listening, you will get a special personalized gift from Mark and myself and Mike, the guys here. It'll be delivered to your homes. It's one of those 18 feet tall teddy bears that they're pushing on TV. There's like a 5-foot teddy bear that for $150 or whatever. I mean, who would buy a 5-foot teddy bear? I don't get it. But in any event, happy Valentine's Day to all the women out there, and give Mike a call if say Happy Valentine's Day.
Say Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy
Happy
Valentine's Day.
Can you hear it in your headset?
A little bit. It sounds muted though.
No, it's not. It sounds
great to us.
Yeah, it's good. You're good. Well, on this Valentine's Day, where St. Valentine's, what did he do? Didn't he get rid of the snakes in Chicago or one of those things?
Oh yeah, well it's actually.
Or is that St. Patrick?
No, that goes all the way back to the Knights Templars and the Valentine's Day Massacre and the Knights Templars, where they
The St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
the original St. Valentine's
That
Day.
was in Chicago.
Well, the
I've
original
been there.
St. Valentine's Day Massacre actually has an interesting here. That's
Well,
where,
hang on for that.
all right,
We'll do that later.
okay,
I want to
okay,
do
okay.
that. I want to go through the history of Valentine's Day. We'll do that a little later, but right now we have all kinds of breaking news issues. CJ is doing some work on assignment, and we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll have Peter Feynman. He's our attorney, and if you need an attorney, Feynman Law, we've spoken about that quite a bit. We haven't been doing a whole lot on our commercials lately because we've been so involved in news issues. Last Friday, 6 days ago, we broke the story that John Guandolo, the former FBI agent, had intelligence and information, and he wrote a story on the fact that at some point, and the story last Friday, the story about John Brennan, the nominee to be the head of the CIA, the story about him converting to Islam while he was in Riyadh, really was substantively a secondary piece of the the article that John wrote, but because it's so psychologically explosive, if you will, I mean, that thing has gone all over the place, and we're gonna read some articles. I mean, these guys, these Islamic jihadis, they get themselves in deeper and deeper. I got an article here from CARE,
the Council of American Islamic Relations.
yeah, saying that
Known Muslim Brotherhood Front Group.
saying that, well, we don't have any evidence that John Brennan converted to Islam, but then they go on to say, yeah, they go on to say some fascinating stuff that everyone out there needs to hear. So we're gonna go through a lot of very serious national security information today. We're gonna take a look at President Obama and his Death of the Union speech, and how he's capable of lying out of two sides of his mouth. In fact, we sent a Mort-Sart piece out today that Mort did specifically for the show, and it has Obama taqiyya, which is the Arabic Islamic term for ends justify the means through lying. That if you're advancing Islam, you're allowed to lie. I've checked my Bible as a Christian. I can't find that chapter where Jesus says, "No, I want to tell everybody, if you can extend the love of my love for mankind, if you could extend the concern and compassion I have for children and men and women and everyone, if you can do that by lying, it's okay to do." I can't find that in my Bible. I've even checked. My Bible includes the Hebrew Bible, and I can't find that there, but we can find it in the
Koran. Oh, Koran. I'm sorry, not the Koran, but the Koran.
The
Koran
Koran
is the KKK version, but the Koran is actually okay. I get them mixed up all the time.
The Koran does allow Muslims to lie in order to advance Islam, and very practical because 888-565-1470, 888-565-1470. That's my PBS. This is my PBS voice. This is my PBS voice.
Hi, I'm Tom Chin.
Hi. God. That's my voice when I've taken 5 Xanax. I had never taken a Xanax in my life, but a couple of years ago I found myself in the emergency room, believe it or not.
Right.
And they go, "All right, just here, do this, take this. And I'm going, "Well, what's going on? What's going on?" And pretty soon I'm going, "Hey, it doesn't matter what's going on, man. Hey, what's happening?" And I said to somebody, "What did they, give me?" "Oh, you got a Xanax." And I don't like taking anything.
Right.
I don't like being in any altered state. I never did any time in my life. And I said, "Whoa," because you just kind of mellow out, right? And I think what they do at PBS, everybody takes a Xanax before they go on the air. Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
How are you?
Hi. How's the global warming doing today, Tom?
Our president is finally going after climate change.
He's a wonderful man. I love him.
There are millions of universes and billions of planets, and space is infinite. But our president will solve global warming.
And here we'll bring on Bill Nye, the science guy, for you.
Just the absurdity of the fact that a human being can impact global warming. I mean, really. This universe has a capability to...
You know what I love about that whole... real short about the global warming thing. It was... when they wrote the book, was it Jurassic Park, I think it was, when he wrote the original intro into it, but he goes, "Actually, let's make a concerted effort to destroy the planet. Let's actually try to destroy the planet as much as we possibly can. It's an impossible thing to do. You might wipe out all humanity.
Exactly.
But you'll never, it's impossible to destroy the planet. We've had meteors hit it. We've had moons. It's a crazy thought. Yeah, you might kill off man. Is that your worship to man? Because it's not to climate. But.
Yeah, it is absolutely theoretically possible to kill off. I don't see Trento Vision on Tea Party. On Tea Party,
might not be on Tea Party, but it
and
might
I
be.
don't see it on Trento Vision.
All right.
You see it? You are actually looking at it?
I was actually on YouTube, the United West.
No, go to Trento Vision.
I will.
Because I have to tell the good folks where they can see us if they're driving in their automobile. I'm going to leave this PBS voice because it's driving me crazy, and I'm back to this voice. Okay, here we are back at TrentoVision.tv. Tom Trento here with Mike, who is running the board. Mark, who is usually over there, spread out all over the place with 18,000 wires. And he is over in the CJ seat right now. And we will miss CJ's laugh, her unique laugh. And we will miss CJ and her her dripping sarcasm and her insightful analyses. But Mark can keep his own, that's for sure. So right now, I think you can only watch us on YouTube/The United West. We're broadcasting there. I don't know if we're broadcasting on TrentoVision.tv. We will fix that in a second. And on Tea Party Community, Tea Party people, we've got many, many people that watch us every day, 3 to 6, teapartycommunity.com. We'd like to welcome all of them. Are we welcoming them, or are they? Am I talking to nobody here?
You're talking to space.
Okay, we're talking to space. But you may be listening for certain on WNN 1470, our favorite radio station. And every morning, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, our friends Brian Craig, who can be a little biting himself, can be a little aggressive, shall we say. But he's logically aggressive. But once in a while, Brian seems to take the A train when it's the B train. And Steve goes, Brian, where are you going with this? So you got to tune into these guys. They are wonderful radio. Steve Kane is the dean of talk radio. He's seen all of it, done all of it, and they have a whole host of characters too. So it's hardcore information, but very entertaining. They know what they're doing. 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock every morning. WNN 1470. Please tune in there. And then we're on 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. This is where we live. You drive to work with Brian and Steve, and you drive home with Trento, the Trento Vision team. Yesterday, we had an amazing show, as we do every day. Yesterday, in the first hour, we had Mordecai Kedar, and he's the Israeli, Mike, you can do it too here. Let's get Mark into the picture. You don't want to be in the picture? Oh, you're going out there. Mordecai Kedar, and you can go see this on YouTube/The United West. All our archived shows are there. You may have to kind of try them out. We didn't title them yet, but we're going to be doing that. Look, we're running this gig with shoestring money, believe me. And if you're in a position to donate, we would appreciate that. You can go to TrentoVision.tv, donate, or our sister website, which is our counterterrorism website, The United West. I'll tell you a little bit about the United West, then we'll get into some of the material here. But kick back, hang out. We've got 3 hours together, and we're going to talk about Chuck Hagel getting slammed. Let's give a hand to the Republicans. It looks like they shut down the... And I am, full disclosure, not a lifelong Republican. I grew up in a blue-collar, union, truck-driving New Jersey family, and everybody's Democrats. You're lifelong Italian Democrats. But I fell on my head and had an epiphany. I said, this is crazy, man. The Democrat Party is not where it is at. You follow lockstep whatever the union guys tell you, whatever the committee man tells you, whatever. The Republicans have free thought, free exercise of opinion, all of that. So I became a Republican. Coincided with my serious desire to align my life with Christianity. At one point it wasn't. Then years ago I aligned it, and I started to see the world through God's eyes in many respects. And the Republican philosophy was more consistent with the theology of Christianity in many respects. And I'll argue with the leftist, and I did for 30 years, the leftist Christians like, oh no, you're so wrong. But right now, I got to tell you, this particular brand of the Republican Party has no testosterone. They have abandoned many, many, many fundamental principles. And I'm getting very close, not to a third party. What is that on? Tea Party? Good. I'll reboot Tea Party. You can watch us at Tea Party Community because Mark just magically fixed it. I'm getting very, very close, and many of my friends are too, to going after more than we have in the past, going after the Republican Party to whack them into some kind of shape. And tomorrow, you can watch the whacking take place live and in color right here, because we will have Peter Feynman, who not only is a great attorney, not only a great friend, but he is the national committeeman for the state of Florida, one of 50 in the country, who represents the state of Florida to the Republican National Committee in Washington, D.C. He recently returned from a significant planning meeting in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we commissioned Peter, if you remember, if you watch the show religiously, we commissioned Peter Feynman with an admonition that said, tell those boys up there that we're not looking for a big tent. We're not looking for Democrat light. We're looking for constitutional principles, and we're looking to shake up this country. And if that means losing some elections over the next few years but winning people, then that's what has to happen. And Peter's going to report back to us live and in color right here tomorrow.
Live and in color. Yeah.
Live and in color right here tomorrow. So tune in for that. And then let me tell you what else we have tomorrow.
What else do we have tomorrow, Tom?
This is serious stuff. We have a friend of ours. You have seen him on the show. His name is Gary Berntsen, Berntsen. Gary Berntsen. Mark, tell everybody a little bit about Gary.
Gary is, what was the book he wrote, Tom? I can't remember.
Jawbreaker.
Jawbreaker, that was it. Jawbreaker, a fascinating insight into the Afghanistan war. He was actually the CIA station chief there and was actually on the ground under the Bush administration, where they actually were fighting the war back then, actually going out and actually trying to actually win it, and until it got pulled back under the later years.
Now we're good on Trento Vision, Tea Party, and YouTube, so you can view anyway. Yeah, he brought in the grab that and take you where you. There we go. Gary led was one of the CIA chiefs who led the charge against Osama bin Laden in 2003. They
had bin Laden trapped in the cave, and they were not given the green light to go after him.
Tora Bora.
And they had him way back then, and it's actually a fascinating story. And also, who's the guy who was they had trapped into the cave? The American who ended up being part of the Taliban.
John Walker Lynn.
Yeah, John Walker Lynn, and they smoked him out. So he has just a fascinating, history. Is actually
WMD there. WMD, weapons of mass destruction. You're not going to find, in most cases, just a suitcase nuclear bomb. A lot of this stuff, particularly in these countries running up to create the actual weapons, there's a delivery device. There's the enrichment elements. There's all the categories, and they're assembled at a proper time because they know if they assemble it too quickly, then they got to deal with having a nuclear bomb in their hand. And a lot of times, in order to keep a WMD program covert, you have false factories that manufacture dual-use parts that, in a moment's notice, could come together to construct the bomb. Well, we got in early enough, and we talked yesterday about whether or not the war in Iraq was justified, and I think all of us said that yes, it was justified based upon the intelligence that everybody knew. Unlike Benghazi, where President Obama said, "Hey, Benghazi's on fire, don't call me," he took a pass, whereas George Bush saw the critical importance of dealing with this, because we have a guy who a few years earlier decided to capture the oil reserves of Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, and he went and took over a country. Remember that war in 1991? This is the same Saddam Hussein. So the war in Iraq was justified. what happened where the United States failed. It failed on several points. Remember any of those points, Mark? Or are you doing technical stuff? Okay. The points it failed on was, whereas historically, whenever we went in and went to war against a country, we defeated the country and then told the country, okay, the thing that got you to become crazy people like you are and fight against the West, whether it was the Shintoism of Japan or the fascist view of Nazi Germany or the communist view of communist countries, you can't. We're not going to defeat you and let you just build up all over again. We'll help rebuild, but you can't follow your same political philosophy, okay, where you can dominate the world and all of this. Well, we should have outlawed the Sharia being part of Iraq, but that's almost an impossibility because these are 25 million Muslims who live by the Sharia. So how do you overcome that conundrum was the question. And what we did was we endorsed and helped write a constitution that codified the Sharia in Iraq. That, at that point, once this country said we are led by Islamic law, well, then all the totality of Islamic law,
right,
which is hatred for the West, domination, all this other stuff, becomes part of their political process. So what the hell was that all about? So that was mistake number one. Mistake number two was the coin doctrine of Petraeus. Coin. Anybody know what coin means?
Counterintelligence operation control.
Counterinsurgency. Just C-O-I-N. Counter, C-O-I-n.
That's it. Okay.
Counterinsurgency. And the whole, Petraeus wrote this 300-page book. I actually read it. And the coin doctrine simply says that within the hearts of every man is a desire for Jeffersonian democracy, true Western democracy. What did Mordecai Kedar have to say about that yesterday?
He had a couple different theories on it. Okay, first of all that the institution of Islam is very tribal in nature and it's antithetic to democracy, but if you break them away and you separate them, that it could actually have a possibility. I don't make me repeat that whole strategy because I completely disagree with it. As far as not that they're tribal, but that democracy can actually exist within Islam is a dream. It's a pipe dream.
I don't think he was saying democracy would exist. He said the rule of the tribe would exist. So
well, that's not democracy. That's what I'm saying. But how you can ever have peace with a system that's constantly at war with another system? I don't see how that actually occurs. It's illogical, as Spock would say in Star Trek. It doesn't, because one side has to destroy the other side. When you have to actually separate them and keep them separate.
Well, I think Mordecai Kedar's thesis, and again, 25 years Israeli intelligence, 17 years teaching, foremost sociologist, and we had 20 minutes with him. But his theory is that if you have all these tribes that have unique sociological characteristics to themselves, the way they dress, the way they eat, their marriage customs, the particular nuance of Islam, and the Israelis are trying to deal with 8 separate manifestations of Islam as a monolithic unity. And it's like the Israelis have to hit 8 targets. So he's saying, why are we Israelis having to have the burden of pleasing 8 different groups that can't even get along together among themselves? Let's separate them out. And again, this is
that was Joe Biden's proposal after Iraq, where he said, well, let's just separate them in all these different units, and that.
Well, the Iraqi thing was three federated areas: Sunni, Shia, and the Kurds. That probably makes the most sense.
Well, that was Biden's plan, actually.
Well, a lot of, he bought into it, but a lot of serious people on our side was saying that's the best thing to do. The problem was the oil fields, how to divide up all the oil.
Actually, it's not the best thing to do. The best thing to do was come in there like after MacArthur.
Just smash the hell out of them.
After MacArthur, what we did for Germany, what we did for Japan, that was the best solution. But nobody wanted to implement that because we didn't want to hurt Islamic feelings.
But here's the problem: Germany, which was a Western country, had adopted a political philosophy that was in opposition to Western principles. So when we defeated Germany, we can cut out that political philosophy, that fascist philosophy, and say, You're historically Western. Now you can't do this anymore. You've got to live as Germans with a different form of government that doesn't seek world domination.
I think a more accurate parallel is Japan, though.
Well, with Germany, it was very easy to say this isn't really what you are. In fact, the fascist movement through Nazism with Hitler was an aberration historically to Western Germany. Japan is different because Japan's Shinto philosophy of life was both a political system and a religion. So that's more analogous to Islam, which is a political system and a religion. So when you defeat an Islamic country and say you can keep your religion, but you're not your politics, that's like saying you can cut yourself in half and try to live as a half of a person. Can't do it. So how do we manage Islamic terrorism if it's impossible ever to democratize these people?
Well, the good model, the working model, the one that has worked to tremendous success is the one that happened when MacArthur came in and said, okay, we're forming a democracy, which means that we're going to appoint, at first, we're going to appoint people that rule in this way. Anybody who violates that, we're going to go out and kill you. And that's basically what happened. And they instituted that for years. And when they instituted that for years, they eventually worked over time. And you have to eradicate the ideology that festers the hatred and the killing. The ideology of this culture is their reliance upon a doctrine that says that there is war must be fought against infidels, non-believers, and that is their calling. You have to remove that before you can ever have any peace.
Good luck with that one.
Well, that's what people used to say before World War II and after World War II about Japan. The argument
where has any Islamic country who has been defeated in the modern age ever turned to a true Western democracy?
It's never been tried. It's never been tried to be implemented. And when the others have tried somehow to keep Islam into the government or into the society or into the cultural system of political body, it's turned to one of two ways. It's turned to a brutal, oppressive dictatorships like happened in Egypt, or radical people like Gaddafi or Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was not an Islamist. I mean, he was actually against. He hated the Brotherhood.
He was a Ba'athist,
and so they had to brutally crush them at every turn.
Well, that's how he. Yeah. Well,
and that's how. But
so it has to be again, totalitarian.
There was no transition possibility to a democratized government because it can't exist under an Islamic rule or form of government. Sharia and Islam are conjoined twins. They cannot be separated. This
doesn't make people feel happy. I mean,
I'm sorry, but this is reality. Reality, sometimes is bad, and when you look at it from a strategic point of view, it's you can't keep Nazism and Germany together and have a successful government. You can't keep the the Shinto ideology together with Japan and have a successful government. You have to separate those two. Until you do that, the problem is going to continue. Until you get Hamas to say that Israel has a right to exist, you're not ever going to have peace with Hamas. I don't care what you do. One side wants to kill you, the other side, what are you going to do? If someone's got a gun pointed to you and says, I'm going to kill you, and you say, well, hey, let's make peace. He goes, no, I'm going to kill you. He says, no, I want to make peace. And he shoots a gun and shoots you in the chest. Hey, I told you I'm going to kill you. What are you going to do? There is no other solution. You must remove the ideology, the core ideology of hatred, of just oppressive, totalitarian, incredibly
no, it's a good point.
evil system.
We struggled with this a little bit with Mordecai Kadar yesterday, and it seemed the only solution to changing that dynamic, the dynamic of the necessity of Islamic totalitarian domination worldwide as a sort of a manifest destiny in terms of Allah's direction in their life, the only solution to that isn't in their geography, where they have their country, because it ain't going to happen. It's if Muslims come out of that and go to a Western country. Mordecai Kadar was saying yesterday, from a sociological point of view, when that happens, now they don't have the pressures of that tribalism, and the chance of assimilation increases a bit. But we have found in our on-the-ground counter-jihad work against the Brotherhood and all that the tribes exist here in the United States,
they do.
not as fundamentally large and not as present, but as real in the lives of the women, certainly.
Yes.
Muslim women.
Well,
And a lot of the kids, it's the second or third generation kids that are in college campuses who do not speak Arabic, our experience from many campuses and interacting with many Muslims, who are starting to say, yeah, I like my iPad, I like fast cars, I like going out
my
with women.
modernity. Right?
Yeah, I like this stuff.
I like to wear makeup. I like to wear, high heels. I like to wear this or whatever. I like to go out on dates, without my father's permission. I would like to not have my brother always hanging around me, seeing what I'm doing. I want to get rid of the chaperone thing.
But here's the problem. When that occurs here in the United States from an Islamic tribal family, then the uncles, who are the imams, bring the jihadis in and say, see, our family's being wrecked by American Westernism, secularism. Right. So we've got to fight even harder. Go blow yourself up someplace. And
we find that in the in the schools, colleges, and we've witnessed this. They actually come in and said it at the last ISNA conference, just last December 25th. That's exactly what they're saying. They're saying the Tea Party is the evil doers, of spreading these lies, talking about what we're talking about, because the truth is lies to them, and we need to come after them.
Absolutely. All right, now let me switch gears for a second. Then I'm going to address the other issue we talked about yesterday. Can a Muslim be moderate? That whole thing. Moderate Islam. I got a great.
That's an oxymoron.
I got a great piece here, but from a Muslim. I got an article from a Muslim addressing just that. But we wanted to tell you about Chuck Hagel. It looks like, folks, as of right now at 3:45 p.m. on the East Coast, Trento Vision with Tom Trento, TrentoVision.tv, and Mark is here. Mike is here. CJ is not. Happy Valentine's to our CJ.
That's right.
Yes. Blow her a kiss. Through the thing and out the window there. And on WNN 1470, as of right now, the wires are reporting that Chuck Hagel has been blocked. Harry Reid says, I don't have the votes. I don't have enough votes. Chuck Hagel's path to the Pentagon struck another major roadblock on Thursday when Senate Democrats appeared short of the 60 votes needed to move forward, throwing the nomination into limbo as Congress prepared to skip town for a week-long recess. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid said on the Senate floor, this is a little while ago, that Republicans were blocking Hagel over their demands that he and the White House give more information about Hagel's background. Well, You know the guy that's going to manage the Defense Department for America? Can we find out a little more about his back? There's a couple missing pieces here. Oh, Harry Reid is so upset that we want to find out more about his background and the September 11th Benghazi attacks.
I got a question for you, Tom.
Yes, what is that?
Do you think our little broadcast the other day had anything to do with this?
You know, I think, ironically, our little Mickey Mouse 3-watt station here, as my cousin refers to it, he goes, you and your friends.
50,000 watt, over to 5 million listener station?
Well,
It's not
the
Mickey Mouse.
audience is the signal goes to 5 million. I don't think they're all tuned in right now.
Right.
But my cousin says, yeah, you and your 3-watt station, you and your crazy friends. Well, you know what? It doesn't take a lot if you're dealing with the truth in a way that's substantive and that's effective and it's backed up factually. Yes.
Tell the audience what I'm talking about.
We are like David, and when he fought Goliath. How did he win, Mike? How did David beat Goliath? You know your Bible history?
Yeah, I remember. Picked up a stone.
How many stones did he have?
I believe he had 3, right? Picked up
5.
5.
Were they rough or smooth?
I do not remember.
They were smooth. 5 smooth stones.
Okay.
And what did he do? Goliath was 9 feet tall and big and tough, and David was a little punk.
He had a sling.
Little hand sling, yeah.
Hand sling. Just spun it.
Where'd he hit him?
Right in the forehead, right?
Yeah, there was one place that wasn't covered on Goliath, right in the forehead, and he whacked him right there, and boom, knocked him down, and everybody goes, ah, that's us. We are giant slayers in the sense that the show we did Friday got all over the place.
It was amazing. All of a sudden, before Lindsey Graham was all kind of wishy-washy, and Hagel's got the votes. He's going to smooth sail right through the whole thing, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then we come out with a story about John Brennan's conversion to Islam.
God.
And it went super viral.
Went all over the place.
And all of a sudden, it looks like Lindsey Graham, gets some brass ones and then goes on the Sunday morning talk shows and says, well, we got to reconsider this whole cause of Benghazi thing.
I mean, many conservatives and even some center-left people didn't like Hegel and certainly don't like Brennan. So in philosophy, there's a doctrine called necessary but not sufficient.
Right.
We were necessary to the process, but certainly not sufficient. I mean, there's others that have to do work. So yes, we have a very effective megaphone here, 50,000 watts, not 3 watts.
Are we the stone or the sling, Tom?
Yes. Well, it depends on. We're both. We're actually both. So Chuck Hagel is going down, and late news. John Brennan, who was supposed to be voted on today by the Senate Intelligence Committee headed up by Dianne Feinstein, guess what? Ain't happening. They pushed the vote off for another week.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Brennan. You were talking about Hagel.
I'm talking about Hagel.
Oh, I was talking about Brennan.
No.
I was going the other direction. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Chuck Hagel was supposed to. Chuck Hagel passed the Senate nominating committee by a party line vote, 7-8, I think it was, and but now Harry Reid. Now they were gonna move to have the full Senate vote, but he doesn't have 60 votes.
Right.
So Chuck Hagel looks like he's dead. Now you never know because they cut deals. President Obama's going to call up a couple of the senators that aren't voting and say, that bridge you wanted in your hometown. Right. Well, it ain't happening unless you vote for me.
Right.
So right now, there's a lot of hardcore backroom politics going on. But as of this moment, Hagel's dead in the water. Brennan, no, we didn't knock off Brennan yet.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you're talking about.
No.
Okay, my bad.
No, we got two guys that ought not be. They are unfit, as John Guandolo said. Both of them unfit for service at this level. Brennan was supposed to be the Senate Intelligence Committee, 15 people, 8 for the majority, Democrats. Dianne Feinstein's the head, 7 for the minority. Marco Rubio's on that. That vote was supposed to be today and probably would have been a party line vote. But Democrats got nervous and they pushed it off for another week because that's the one where Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
That's the one that we I'm sure we had a role in, because when you see something comes across Lindsey Graham's desk and goes, some crazy people somewhere saying Brennan's a Muslim. He probably went, oh, my God. Oh, what do I need now? The guy's a space cadet, too. What's going on? So he said, all right, just put everything on hold. Let's check this out. And we've had, FYI, since John Guandola came on and said that Brennan has converted to Islam and has been converted to Islam by the Muslim Brotherhood and is adopting the Muslim Brotherhood philosophy. That's the big key. Is we've had quite a few other sources that have confirmed that fact that he actually. Yeah, I mean, we have gotten emails from people who are in the government who
wish to be in right.
Concur with that viewpoint, and John Guandolo. And again, the sensational component is that John Brennan, the head of the CIA, converted to Islam. But it was very properly and professionally detailed by John Guandolo that is a secondary issue to his being unfit to serve in the position.
Exactly.
But again, the sensational thing is always what grabs the headlines. If it bleeds, it leads, one of those things. If he's a Muslim, he leads, right?
Right.
Well, John published last night some very specific and definitive information about this. In the next hour, we're going to go through John's information.
Good.
And then we're going to go through this concept of is there such a thing as a moderate Muslim? And do we have the video of the Christians being thrown out of a Boca Raton high school?
Give me 2 seconds to set that up.
Well, we don't need it yet. We'll do it in the next hour.
For the next hour, right.
And can we get our video of you and me being thrown out the other day?
Of the college? Right.
Everybody's getting thrown out all over the place.
So what is going on? There's ever since the election, we've noticed in the past that they actually would allow us to go in and we record them and catch them doing stupid stuff, and we publish it, and they get embarrassed. But now, after the election, that they're trying to shut everybody down from recording anything.
Why do you think so? Definitely a good observation.
What are they trying to hide?
Let's ask you guys. Mark's point is that after the election, right now there seems to be an iron fist clamping down on free speech activities of those of us who are conservatives or in opposition to Obama.
In high schools and colleges, everywhere.
If you have seen that or you know anything about that, give us a call. We're going to take a little break now. 888-565-1470. Have you experienced or have you seen the left trying to suppress the free speech activities, whether on a university campus, a high school campus, a talk show, anywhere, suppress the opposition's view against Obama? And it makes a lot of sense, but we'll let our audience answer that. 888-565-1470. We're going to take a little short break. We'll be back in the second hour. We're going to look at John Guandolo's evidence for why John Brennan is unfit to be the director of the Central Intelligence Agency. And we're going to look at a former Muslim who wrote an article as concluding that there's no such thing as moderate Islam. It doesn't happen. And we're going to look at some Christians being thrown out of a high school yesterday, Christian speakers, thrown out, off the ground. Get out! Right now, right here in Florida.
Who were invited on there.
And 2 days ago, we got thrown out of a classroom in Boca Raton at Florida Atlantic University. We're going to look at that. And that's not over, folks. That school has serious problems. But you don't have problems if you stay here on Trento Vision with us. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about it.
Thanks for tuning in to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Tom Trento can be reached at 561-319-5533 or tom@trentovision.tv. And tune in again weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Need to get some rest. This is the worst headache ever.
Right arm's all tingly all of a sudden. Must have slept on it last night.
I keep losing my balance. These old bones need some exercise.
Granddaddy, what you just said doesn't even make sense. It sounds like gibberish.
Signs like these could be more than what they seem. They could be a sign of stroke.
Sudden weakness or numbness of the face, arm, or leg.
Sudden trouble with vision in one or both eyes.
Sudden trouble walking or difficulty with balance.
Or a sudden intense headache that comes out of nowhere.
If you or someone you know has any of these symptoms, don't wait. Call 911 immediately. You could make a difference in someone's life, someone you love, maybe even your own.
Time lost is brain lost.
Find out more at powertoendstroke.org. Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
My name is Joe Thompson. I'm 29 years old and have a career that I love as a systems analyst. Career. It still sounds cool to say that word. I never could have gotten on this path without a college degree. And if the college me were here, he'd tell you.
I never would have gotten to college without Big Brothers Big Sisters. I could have ended up anywhere, on the streets even. But college? Joe Thompson? Not likely. My big brother helped me out. He taught me I could do anything, at a time when a lot of people were saying just the opposite.
And to a 7-year-old, that means a lot. My big brother's name is Phil. And Phil is the reason that this 7-year-old grows up to be a systems analyst.
Whether you donate money or time, you're helping Big Brothers Big Sisters help a child. And that can last a lifetime. Start something today at BigBrothersBigSisters.org. Brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters and the Ad Council.
It takes 12 years to create a graduate. It takes about the same time to create a dropout. The difference between a child becoming one or the other could be you. Studies prove that reading to a child regularly dramatically improves reading skills. And kids who read well by 3rd grade are 4 times as likely to graduate. So United Way is calling for 1 million volunteers over the next 3 years. We're asking you to step up, make a pledge, tutor a child who needs help, mentor a kid who needs someone on their side, volunteer to read to children, make a difference. Because when a child advances, we all advance. Entire communities improve. The path to success or failure starts long before graduation day, and the difference between a graduate and a dropout could be you. Be a reader, tutor or mentor, give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Take the pledge. Go to liveunited.org now. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
This is Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach, and WKIS HD3, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
AM 1470, WNN, with more of what you need to know. Tune in for The Jill Dane Show, Sundays at 3 p.m. on South Florida's Health and Wealth Network, AM 1470, WNN.
Weak at sea, but it's still hours away from the dock in Mobile, where it's expected to arrive tonight. The ship, with more than 4,000 people aboard, has been without power since an engine room fire Sunday. Passengers have described dismal, filthy conditions on board. Leon Panetta says he wishes Congress would confirm his successor as defense secretary so he can get out of town. But the Senate is embroiled in a partisan fight over the man nominated to replace him, former Senator Chuck Hagel. Action is being held up as Republican senators demand more information from the White House about the September attack on the U.S. diplomatic mission in Benghazi, Libya. Fewer homeowners are getting their first foreclosure notice. The foreclosure firm Realty Track says so-called foreclosure starts in January went down 28% nationally from the same period in 2012. This is IRN USA Radio News.
With the Ace Bag Sale this Saturday, getting 20% off almost everything you can fit into a bag takes planning. Say you spot some light bulbs. You might not want to put those in the bag first. especially if you add a gallon of paint, which is also 20% off, like the duct tape, which will help if the bag tears when you add a second gallon of paint, which will make the whole bag 20% off and very heavy. At Ace, the helpful place. Discount is off regular priced in-stock merchandise that fits inside one bag at one time. Good at participating stores February 16th only. Limit one bag and offer per customer. Other conditions apply. See store for details.
You know those commercials that have been on for years and years about Andy Willoughby's 3-step plan home business system? You know, the hi, how in the world are you anyway guy? Took me almost 10 years to call. I finally did, just out of curiosity. I was really surprised. This is a business I can make a real income with. And the best part, I don't have to talk my family and friends into doing anything. It's that easy. Call 800-480-2102 or online at 3stepusa.com.
The man who just wrapped up his term as head of Social Security says it's time to quit playing politics with the program.
Outgoing Social Security Commissioner Michael Astruz says that Congress, the White House, and advocates for seniors have all, in his words, really walked away from Social Security. And he says as a consequence, the program is fraying because of the inattention to its problems. He says benefit cuts and tax increases are inevitable, but that instead of making these kinds of hard choices, policymakers have used Social Security's problems as a tool of political rhetoric.
President Obama's Democratic allies in the Senate are unveiling legislation meant to avoid a looming set of sharp across-the-board spending cuts set to take effect in 2 weeks. The measure would impose a minimum tax rate on million-dollar incomes and replace the automatic cuts with more gradual reductions to the Pentagon budget and cuts in farm subsidies, but is expected to die at the hands of Republicans who oppose new tax cuts. For the latest news and analysis, log on to IRNUSAnews.com.
With the Ace bag sale this Saturday, getting 20% off almost everything you can fit into a bag takes planning. Say you spot some light bulbs. You might not want to put those in the bag first, especially if you add a gallon of paint, which is also 20% off, like the duct tape, which will help if the bag tears when you add a second gallon of paint, which will make the whole bag 20% off and very heavy. At Ace, the helpful place. Discount is off regular priced in-stock merchandise that fits inside one bag at one time. Good at participating stores February 16th only. Limit one bag and offer per customer. Other conditions apply. See store for details.
A federal judge has approved Transocean's agreement with the Justice Department to plead guilty to a misdemeanor charge and pay $400 million in criminal penalties for its role in the 2010 Gulf of Mexico oil spill. U.S. District Judge Jay Malazzo accepted Transocean's plea and imposed the agreed-upon sentence during a hearing Thursday. Transocean agreed last month to plead guilty to a misdemeanor charge of violating the Clean Water Act. The company also agreed to pay $1 billion in civil penalties. A different judge will decide whether to accept that part of the settlement. Billionaire Warren Buffett is among the investors in a deal to buy H.J. Heinz. Here's Ed Donahue.
The maker of Heinz Ketchup and Ore-Ida potatoes joins companies like candy maker Mars and Burger King that Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has money in. Analyst Hugh Johnson says Heinz may not be a spectacular deal for Buffett, but it will deliver long term.
That's the kind of company he buys. They're consumer companies. They post good sales and earnings regardless of what's going on in the economy, and they have very good financials, which live up to the standards, which are really tough for Warren Buffett.
Heinz says this is the largest deal ever in the food industry. I'm Ed Donahue.
Officials in Guam say a third person has died following a rampage during which a driver plowed into several people and then got out of his car and stabbed others. 21-year-old Chad Ryan DeSoto is being held on $2 million bail. Authorities say he injured 6 people when he allegedly drove his car into a sidewalk late Tuesday and then got out of his car and stabbed people with a knife. With IRN USA Radio News, I'm Hope Douglas.
Here's some great news from Tom Trento, host of the daily WNN Trento Vision Show. Due to the unparalleled success of the Trento Vision Show, you now have an amazing opportunity to advertise on the Trento Vision Show. If you want more information about this excellent opportunity for your business, please contact Tom Trento at 561-319-5533, or you can email him, tom@trentovision.tv. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trento Vision is hosted by Tom Trento. Tom can be reached at 561-319-5533 or tom@trentovision.tv. Listen and watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and TrentoVision.tv. Now, Let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
Repeat the Gary Bernstein stuff.
What's that?
Repeat the Gary Bernstein
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Because I think we missed that in the first hour.
Yeah, Gary Bernstein. We got to repeat that. But first, before we repeat the Gary Bernstein stuff, we've all had interesting jobs in our lives.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I've had a lot of interesting jobs. I didn't just get to this seat here the sissy way, you know. I mean,
no, you've actually earned it. I got to give you credit on that one.
I've had some interesting jobs. One of the more interesting jobs, my father was a union truck driver, and actually still is in the union. Been retired a long time.
Right.
And as a little kid, like this big, his big truck would be parked outside of our house in Newark, New Jersey, and I used to, he'd come home for lunch, and I would go running up into this thing,
Right.
climb up into the truck, and I'd get on this seat, and I'd go, shh, 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 shh. I'd let all the air out of his air brake cylinder. Just loved doing it every day. And the bug bit me, the driving bug.
Yeah.
I wanted to drive something mechanical from I was 5 years old,
Right.
And so I always, my bikes, I always trick them out and do whatever.
Right.
10 or 11 years old, I can't believe that my parents did this. Now I talked them into buying me a mini bike.
Oh yeah, I got one of those too. Yeah.
And a 5 horsepower Briggs and Stratton, and I'm zipping. We had a home in Newark in a city. But then we had a little summer place down the shore in New Jersey, for all you Jersey people out there, in Bricktown.
Right.
And so I'd be riding this little thing all over the place, and that led to racing cars for many years, Ferraris and Porsches and motorcycles and all that stuff. But it also led to me driving tractor trailers, some very, very big tractor trailers, which is something I wanted to do. Now I'm in school, I'm studying law enforcement, I'm studying all this stuff.
Right.
And but I started driving for a company that made sewage treatment plants. Right.
Okay.
You ever see these developments? Or every development, it's got when you go poo poo and pee pee, something has to happen with that. It can't just go on the ground, right?
Yes.
We took care of that. I took care of your poo-poo and pee-pee.
We're still doing that, Tom. You're still doing it.
That's right. I'm still in the same business here, dealing with the Democrats. I still move poop around, I guess. I do. Driving it around. No.
Stuff that people don't want to deal with.
That's right, exactly. Well, I worked for a company in Jersey, and we would build... the fabricators would build these gigantic tanks, 10, 12, 14 feet, all of this, and I had to carry them on lowboy trailers so they didn't smash into the bridges.
Right.
It was really fascinating because I would drive all over the East Coast to deliver these things, and when you deliver a poo-poo system filter, they're not right where the homes are built. They're about a quarter of a mile away because they're open areas. They use the aeration process and all kinds of... Now, this is back, 20, 30 years ago. Whatever.
Makes it throw for charcoal and everything like that.
No, this wasn't. This was an open air with a lot of little valves and water going, and the microbes would eat the poop and all that. And the water that came out the other end, you could drink, okay? Not me, but you could drink it. That was what our company at least told people. But these things were always, a quarter of a mile away from where the homes were being constructed. So I would come to a day or 2 days on the road with this big gigantic truck, and it got stuck 5 times, and I had to block traffic because sometimes most of the times had escorts because it was oversized loads. And now I would come to the place, and I'd get out of the truck. And, the engineers and everybody said, okay, you got to go over there. I go, where's the road? Well, we don't really have a road.
You just kind of go there.
Just got to go there. I said, okay, no problem. I'll get a running start. So I would take my truck, and I would have this whole process, buckle in the thing, do all the stuff and get tightened in and make sure that my lunch thing was tight, and I would just go flying, and usually second gear. Get going out first gear, get into second gear, and just stay on second gear with the tandems turned on. You can turn those things on and off, and just turn them on and just hold the steering wheel. I had a seat that had an air cushion in it, because you're like this, boom, 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 and just go as far as I could, right? And maybe I got halfway, and I would get stuck, and then I had to have a tractor or a bulldozer tow me out the rest of the way, and then I had to get out and all this stuff. So that was one of my interesting jobs. But the moral of that story is one of my very, very dear friends that worked there. You ever meet somebody and there's like an immediate bond?
Right.
Yeah. Well, one of the guys that I met there, we became very good friends very, very quickly. And I worked there for a year or two, whatever it was. And he was one of the fabricators that made these things, a welder and all that stuff. Right. And then after they fixed it, made it, and put it on my truck, I'd go deliver it. And when I left years ago, this is in the 70s, I guess, your life goes on. I went to school and all the different things. And your relationships change.
Right.
You just hadn't seen the guy for years and years. I still haven't seen him since then. But the other day,
he calls you. What's his first name?
No names, because we're not going to do names because I don't need to burden my friends with them knowing me. Somebody else knowing that this is the person. I got enough problems of bad guys who don't like me. I don't need them not liking my friends. And through the internet, through Facebook, I think it was.
Right.
His wife said, "Are you the Tom Trento from New Jersey that worked here?" I said, "Yeah." Well, my husband. I said, "You got to be kidding me!" So we corresponded a little bit, and I called them the other night.
Really? Okay.
And it's been 30-something years, maybe. And the phone conversation. I got off the phone, and it struck me. The phone conversation was like yesterday. There was no gap.
Right.
It was just a continued conversation 30 years later. And they are watching right now. I just got a note.
Oh,
they are
good.
watching
Excellent,
right now.
excellent.
Hello, mystery people. Good to see you. I will be in touch. And they live in the state of Florida.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and not too far from here. Up by you, really.
Oh, really? Okay,
up there. And so we're gonna do something. They're gonna come down here. I'm gonna go up there, but I'm very excited because this is
fantastic.
This is very, very cool. It'll be somewhat like me going to I think it was my 20th high school reunion.
Mm-hmm.
I walked in the door. It had to be 20 because 18, 28, 38. Yeah, 20. I opened the door. And each year, I've gone to a bunch of them, but each year you go back, fewer and fewer people there because they die off and they change it. And you notice when I opened the door. So anyway, to my dear, dear friends, and I'll see you for sure. But when I went to my 20th reunion and I opened the doors, I looked in, and there was a couple hundred people. And I look, and I'm recognizing people from 20 years earlier. But it struck me, is this a movie? Does everybody have makeup on, gray hair, and and they gained weight?
Yeah.
What is going on here? The first time that I don't think that'll happen with these guys, but I was just struck at the change.
They just like older people of the same people you
knew? It was like this guy Sammy, who was a very thin guy, and he was the same way, but he had like gray hair and a mustache, and I'm going, Sammy, hey man, what's going on? So I'm sure you folks have had that. We have people on the line here. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but I'm just telling stories here on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to my two friends. Here's a kiss to you guys. We'll bring somebody on. Come on, you got to do what CJ does.
I'm not CJ, okay? This is the reason you have her over here. You have me over there to keep the stuff working.
Okay.
Michelle? Or who is it? Are you online? Who's online here? Is a smooth transition.
Can you give us anybody?
Yes, my name is Ann.
Who's this, Michelle?
Ann.
Ann. Okay. Well, that's
All
close.
right,
That's
Ann.
close
That's
to
close
Michelle.
enough.
Good job, Mark. Good job, Mark.
Fire me, please.
Yeah. Hi, Ann. How are you doing? You're with Tom and somebody I don't even know who's on the other side of the table here. How are you?
I was wondering, what about the Rutherford Institute or the CBN, Regency University? I know it's grassroots. You do a grassroots program, but it seems that we have to get together. I was wondering, they used to. I thought the Rutherford Institute used to help high school kids, for instance, that were prohibited from meeting at the flagpole to pray, etc.
Your phone's breaking up a little bit, but
explain what the context is.
Michelle, whose real name is Ann, is asking the question: why not go to the Rutherford Institute or one of these other First Amendment legal firms for the situation we're going to show either this hour or the next hour that occurred right here in Boca Raton yesterday, where some Christian, I think they're musicians who also preach, right? They were invited in by a student club,
right?
And the courts have long held that students can invite people in, and they can have any particular religion, and they can express their views because that's the desire of the students in the club. It's not a school-sponsored event,
right?
And yesterday at Spanish River High School, a significant, very well-known, prominent high school in Boca Raton, Sons of Liberty. You met them the other day, Mark.
Great people, Bradley.
They were about to do their presentation to the students, and the principal came, and we have video we're going to show in a little bit of them literally being thrown out of the school. So Ann is saying, why not go to the Rutherford Institute? Well, the Rutherford Institute was started back in the 80s by my friend John Whitehead. And
really?
John and I did some quite a bit of stuff together in the early days. He's a phenomenal First Amendment constitutional attorney. And yes, you're exactly right, Ann. It's the organizations like the Rutherford Institute. But from what I understand, Mark, about Sons of Liberty, you can explain a little bit about them. They've run into these kinds of trouble. They've been on campuses hundreds of times.
Right.
So I'm sure, Ann, they know who to turn to. But why do you think, Ann, and we'll see if your phone is working, why do you think all of a sudden there's like a real crackdown on free speech proponents?
Well, everywhere. It's getting worse, right?
What are your thoughts, Ann?
They don't have any fear. There's no fear of consequences. People are not taking action. I don't know why.
I think that's a very good point. The Obama administration is so powerful right now, and the Republican opposition is so weak that what happens, it feeds itself this almost super strength that you get. You've seen it in football games. Are you a football fan, Ann?
I like to go there, but I don't. I like to go to a game, but I don't necessarily watch it. But I get caught up and start screaming and yelling. I know.
Okay, but you in any sporting event, and you see this a lot in football, that when one team starts to develop momentum, and they score, the other guys fumble, they score again. This team develops all kinds of strength, and the other side gets weaker. That's what's happening with the Democrat Party and the Obama administration. Each and every day, they're getting stronger and stronger. When that happens, then those associated with that political philosophy, the liberal mindset, they start flexing their muscles in venues and arenas that typically they haven't messed around. I guarantee you the principal of this school voted for Obama. I guarantee it, of Spanish River High School, when you see his behavior and action throwing these Christians off a school where they were invited on by the students. So, Ann, thank you for your call, and I'm going to read something that just came in.
And
go ahead, Mark.
And what we're actually seeing, talk about the boldness of the left. And we notice.
We'll see you, Ann. We're going to let you go now. Thanks.
And we see that in the emboldenedness of the jihadists too, of the people of the Muslim Brotherhood. Now it's not Israel Apartheid Week; it is Israeli Apartheid Week. So they're pushing the what the left tends to do is push the conversation to where they want it, where you're not illegal aliens, you're undocumented workers. Well, that's what they're doing with this whole Israeli issue. They're putting it to where they actually believe, which is this anti-Semitic hatred. And that's the reason they're calling it, Israeli Apartheid Week. And now they're feeling more and more emboldened to, like, all right, since we get away with that, now what we're going to do, we have to suppress the speech of everybody else who wants to stand in objection to that. And that's where we're at now. That's the pattern I'm seeing.
From the inauguration, which was the 21st, we're not even a month removed.
I know. I mean, this is going at warp speed.
Now listen to this. I just got an email. This is Mort. Mort is not only a prominent artist and cartoonist, our Mort Cuff, but he's a very erudite writer, very perceptive writer. And he writes, he sends me, 25 things a day. I can't keep up with all the stuff he sends. But he wrote this to someone else regarding this issue. He says, each new day brings new outrages regarding flagrant violations of our First Amendment that is supposed to guarantee us free speech. The outrage reaches critical mass. That's a good term that we're talking about. Good. Critical mass when it emanates from administrators of our public schools, from grade schools to the university level. And we saw a high school yesterday and the day before us at the university. What is driving this phenomenon? Asks Mort. It is without, and he answers his own question. Right. That's good. It's helpful. It is without question a toxic amalgam. He knows a lot of words, Mort. Of socialism, liberalism, and progressivism. Education in America's classrooms have come to mean indoctrination. Good point. We must stand, resist, fight back in order to arrest and stop and destroy this corrosive trend. The time-honored profession of teaching has become so corrupted by the influences of socialism, liberalism, and progressivism that in many cases it is doing our children more harm than good. Tenure is a problem. The NEA, what is the NEA?
National Education Association.
Yeah, it's the big union. Yeah. The NEA is a big problem. Authority gone wild in the offices of many school administrators is a big problem. School boards populated with entry-level political office holder wannabes is another problem. Parents who fail miserably in explaining to their offspring what education is all about is a huge problem. Princes and princesses who have somehow acquired the notion that the sun rises and sets on their pampered little heads is a big problem. It's a good thing I'm so far over the hill, otherwise I might be tempted to get more involved. He is so involved it isn't funny. When I think about beginning my own paltry education back in the good old days, the room gets noticeably brighter with my recollection of my first grade teacher. I'll always love that woman, though I can no longer remember what she looked like. She used to read a favorite story that nearly brought me to tears each and every time she read it aloud. The Raggedy, Raggedy, Raggedy Man. I feel so sorry for kids today that my teacher is missing from their lives. That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it is.
That's pretty good. And
one of the questions when I was growing up.
Wait, one more thing.
Okay.
I just got another text. Tom, a new follower, one of our friends, has commented on the post about the anti-Semitism at FAU and said, he who owns the youth gains the future. Guess who said that? He who owns the youth gains the future.
Either Stalin or Hitler. Who was it?
Number 2, Hitler.
Now, and that's the reason you had the Hitler youth camps. I mean, and coming out to World War II, and this is, a lot of people don't know this, is when after the U.S. troops stormed the beaches of Normandy and they were fighting, the armies got depleted by Germany very, very quickly. So they had to start calling up more and more Hitler Youth people came up. And they said those people who came up who were the Hitler Youth, who had actually been through the indoctrination of the whole system, became the most virulent and aggressive fighters and the ones most dedicated to the cause. And I think that's what we're seeing now, because also the question I had growing up also was, how does a country such as Germany get to the point where they can start committing genocide on Jews? And people say, oh, it's just Hitler. It's just no, it's not just Hitler. There was a whole system. There was a whole cadre of people below that who actually, hey, I'm just following orders, just like the guy we saw at the FAU campus the other night. He was just following orders, but he had no idea of what he was doing. Yet you put that in place over time, they start to become to know what they are doing. And it's such a slow, insidious pushing, like we're going from Israel apartheid way to Israeli apartheid way. You keep pushing it to where, okay, it's not just Israeli apartheid. We must now start killing Jews because they are an infection in our society. That conversation starts to happen, and then when that's well, then how do we kill the Jews? Well, I mean, it's such a
seductive.
step by step.
That's why we are here to stop the insanity. Tom Trento, 26 minutes. Anybody on the phone? On the lines, 26 minutes after 4 o'clock on the East Coast. TrentoVision.tv. No.
Oh, I think they dropped.
Okay. We're sorry we were keeping many of you on hold, but we have a rookie phone person on the other side here.
That would be the non-CJ person.
So if you call now, we will let you in.
Failed you miserably, Tom.
Failed phone management 101. 565. But 565 is only after 888. 888. If you're local, it's 565.
So you're all messed up today because you don't have CJ to keep all this stuff straight for you.
888-565-1470. Tom Trento, Mark, Mike, we're here. We're missing CJ, our Valentine love goes
girl.
out to CJ and all you women out there. Happy Valentine's Day. Call Mark.
Yeah.
Call Mark.
I'm married, so
Okay. What else was I going to say? Oh, weather. What is the weather like? It's 74 degrees and it feels nice in here.
You're dumping all this stuff onto
that's
me,
right.
and I don't. That's not my job.
Mike, do the traffic,
That's
and
not
then
my job, and I got to do the weather now. I got to be the
Michael
weather
will do the
girl
traffic
and everything.
first. Give us a traffic
I can't handle
report.
all this.
Yeah. While he gets the weather.
We have the blinds down, so I'm just going to say traffic's going good.
Okay, traffic's going good in
Then you got me put my glasses on
in
and everything.
Florida.
Oh my God!
And the outside weather.
I don't know.
Is,
It's 37 and 27 somewhere in the world. I don't know where it's at.
So it's cold someplace, and I think it's raining here. But
New York, it's 27.
Oh my word!
27 degrees in New York right now.
Why do people live there? Stay up there though. We don't need more people down here. We got enough people down here. But look at this. Andy Bostom, Dr. Andy Bostom, who is a prolific writer, a very accomplished physician, just sent me a little article that says Italy's ambassador to Saudi Arabia, right?
Right.
Italy, where we're going to have a new pope pretty soon.
Right.
In Rome. Anybody been to the Vatican? I've been there.
Yeah, I've been a couple times.
Yeah, very cool.
3
Me too,
times,
a couple times. You were in service. You were over there. Well,
see Naples and die.
Italy is where the Holy Roman Empire. It's where the Catholic Church is based out of, and the Vatican City is there. And Italy is a Catholic nation, basically. I think it's like 95% Catholic.
Vatican's actually its own little country. Actually,
it's its own little deal. Well, Italy's ambassador to Saudi Arabia just converted to Islam.
Woo!
Italy's ambassador to Saudi Arabia has converted to Islam, the second man in 7 years that an envoy of Rome in the land of Mecca has adopted its religion. So this is not that strange. And our presentation last Friday on John Brennan converting to Islam was as a result of an IO, influence operation, on the officials coming in from the country. What do you think the Saudis do? They are trying to improve their image worldwide, which is very bad for Western countries. If they didn't have oil, everybody would just be sending all the stuff. Jen and Mort on the line. Okay, so we got to. Is that how you do it?
Hey, I'm high tech.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I think CJ does it like this. CJ,
she's old school. She's old.
She goes like this. I think she may have to adopt your way. And you actually texted it to me.
Yeah.
CJ, you may be losing your job, CJ.
Hey, I'm high tech.
Well, let's take Jen first. Jen, hi, Jen. You're with Tom and Mark and Mike and no CJ today.
Hi, Tom. Calling from Wisconsin, watching you guys live on Tea Party Community.
Excellent,
right.
excellent. So how do you like the Tea Party Community website?
I love it. I love it. It's a fantastic place. It's long past due, and I'm really glad that it's here.
Well,
could I ask you a question, Jen?
Sure.
Okay. But you got to be truthful.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have cheese on your head right now, by any chance?
I don't have cheese on
You don't
my head.
have cheese
but
on your head?
I have to confess, I'm almost 50, and I put cheese on literally almost.
Are you a Packard fan? Are you a Green Bay Packer fan?
I'm
course.
not. I actually grew up 2 blocks away from the stadium, and I'm not really a huge football fan.
Oh, my word. I didn't know anybody existed like that.
I used to
up
run
there.
across the border from Great Lakes, Illinois, up to Kenosha, Wisconsin.
It's not Illinois.
I mean,
yep.
Yeah,
It's
Great Lakes.
Illinois.
All right. I used to run up to across the border up to Kenosha, Wisconsin. And there was a little bitty...
It's not Wisconsin. It's Wisconsin.
Are you
It's
done? Let me know when you're done.
Wisconsin.
Are you done
How do
now?
you say it, Jen? How do you say Wisconsin?
It's Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Okay. Go ahead.
And there's a little a bar in there that was the secret hideaway where it's like a James Bond thing. You had to go through a speakeasy door thing, and it was very popular in Wisconsin. I don't know if you've ever been down there, but
Gay bar?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
That would no. I've been to a lot of gay bars.
Okay. Save that for another show.
Research.
Not that there's anything wrong with
Not
gay
that there's
bars.
anything wrong with that. Okay. But go ahead, Jen. What's your question?
Well, the reason why I'm calling is you guys were talking about the educational system, and I wanted to share with you an experience that we had here in Wisconsin I guess it was about 2 years ago, just after Scott Walker was put in place.
Right.
And the
governor,
liberals were
Scott Walker, the governor of Wisconsin, yes.
correct. The liberals were all up in arms because of Act 10 and
Right.
fighting against that. We are a very, very right-wing family, and at the time I had a daughter who was a senior in high school. Very outspoken kid, but she was odd man out because she was right and everybody else was left because of the indoctrination that you were just talking about. And when she went to school and the teachers were calling in sick, they were threatening the kids, they were scaring the kids, telling them that, that their educations would be minimized through Act 10 and et cetera, et cetera. When she spoke up, because she was very much involved, when she spoke up and said her piece and said, no, you're giving one side of this. You also have to consider the other side, which is...
Hey, all right.
Yeah.
Brave girl you raised there.
Yeah, she tried to convey that, and the teachers openly ridiculed her in front of the rest of the class and turned the other kids against her, and the teachers threatened her. And when we brought it to the administration's attention, of course, it was denial.
Mm-hmm.
But, why would a kid come home and say something like that unless it was something that had actually happened?
Right.
And come to find out that it was happening in school districts throughout Wisconsin because of everything that was going on. And it absolutely goes down all the way to the little kids, to the first and second grade level. The teachers were, giving the kids veiled threats, thinking that they wouldn't understand what they were saying. But it scared the children so much that they then would come home and be afraid, that the next day they were going to go to school and their teachers wouldn't be there.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a very, very sad situation, particularly up there in Wisconsin. When Scott Walker won 2010, it was a shock. And then there was the recall effort, and he made it through. Well, the unions from all over the United States went there, mobilized, and the teachers' unions, they became thugs. The teachers were thugs, and that
that's what
thuggery
happens.
is playing out. What did you guys do? Did you file complaints, or what? Did you talk to your kid? How'd you manage that? Because this is happening all over the United States, Jen.
Well, we were lucky enough. We're actually good friends with the governor and the lieutenant governor, so we immediately brought it to their attention, and things were kind of cleaned up. Andrew Breitbart came here, and he kind of took up the cause for the kids who were being, ridiculed and stuff like that. And so we had a whole, network of people that were helping out. But yeah, we pursued things as without getting an attorney, which we could have done, but she was getting ready to graduate at that point, had
Right.
just a few more months left of school. But yeah, for kids, or rather for parents whose children are in the high school or even the upper junior high level, absolutely, I encourage you to talk to your kids, even if they roll their eyes and go, I don't want to hear it. Bring it down to their level. Somehow communicate with your kids how important this is.
Yeah, a very, very good suggestion and admonition. Now, what is your daughter doing now? Did she go on to college?
She is going to college here in Wisconsin, yeah.
All right, well,
In her second year.
that's going to be a tremendous life lesson for her in terms of taking a stand. And does she feel good about herself that she stood for the truth regardless of what the idiots were saying?
Oh, absolutely. She has come with us to Washington, D.C. several times. She's been with us at several protests. So she absolutely has a very, very strong handle on what's going on. And
All right, you're raising a little revolutionary, a little ideological, conservative revolutionary, and that's exactly what has to happen because we're quickly, those who are conservative,
Right.
which was the way America was for most of its 236 years. It's only the past 20, 30 years where we have this very dramatic shift, and it's accelerating with the election of President Obama, giving goodies to people that he wants to be on the liberal side of things. We are becoming a counterculture movement. The Judeo-Christian worldview, the conservative worldview of limited government, of right is right, wrong is wrong, of a solid family, a father and a mother. This is becoming counterculture thinking. And sadly, we're going to have to stand up more and more against the abuse of those who have the microphone or the abuse of those who are in authority. And we're going to play this video in a little bit as to what happened yesterday. And you're going to see counterculture Christians trying to stand against leftist principles in beautiful Boca Raton, which is a fairly conservative area in many respects. So thank you very much, Jen, for your phone call.
Thank
Keep
you.
listening and watching. And tell your Tea Party community friends to tune in every day, 3 to 6.
We have Mort and Judah on hold.
Okay. Well, let's bring Morty. Hey, Morty, how are you? It's Tom and Mark and Mike.
Hey, I called and have been
Wait
on
a minute.
while.
Wait a minute. Don't you say Happy Valentine's Day to us when you get on the line?
I said it, but it was like a silent prayer.
Okay. Well, Happy Valentine's Day back to you.
And he's been on hold forever.
Okay.
My heart is with you. While I called to help out Invisible Mike because I know that it might be raining there and he might not be seeing the vultures, and I wanted to give you a vulture report from Boynton Beach.
Oh, okay.
However, while I was on hold, 2 black helicopters circled and scared away the vultures. And then while the helicopters were circling, 2 armed drones began circling and scared away the helicopters. So I don't know what's going on. I was going over to FAU to find out.
Did you have, by any chance, a chip implanted in your forehead lately?
No, it's still resting on my shoulder.
Oh,
Okay.
he's tuning into Trento Vision. That's what it is.
Well, they got you. I mean, your name is all over this stuff that you put out there, and we're putting it out there. You don't think the federales have your number there, Mort?
I'm sure they do, but as many as there are, I'm only one, so I feel that they're outnumbered.
Yeah, but you make yourself appear as many, not just as one.
We try.
All right. Are you taking your? Are you? And nobody's listening, so you can tell us the truth. Are you taking your dear wife out for Valentine's Day, or what are you doing? What's the deal?
No, I bought her candy so she'd stay home and cook.
And she is a great cook.
That's the secret.
I
That's
can
the
tell
secret.
you, she is a great cook. So
So far, it's working.
always, if you're going to marry a woman, marry an Italian woman who can cook. And Mort knows how that works. All right, man. Keep your fingers moving and keep sending the. And we're gonna announce a winner soon on that. We got to get CJ back.
CJ's busily scurrying over the the stuff right now.
All the entries. All right, Mort, thanks. Let's bring Judah in, and then we'll continue with our stuff. Bye, Mort. Hello, Judah. How are you? With Tom and Mike and Mark, and no CJ today. Sorry.
Right. Before I ask a question, which is the reason I called, but I do want to say that I have a very strong sense that you, Tom, and you, Mark, and CJ, and Mike, your whole United West Trento Vision team, I think my strong sense is that you have found your mission in life. It gives everybody a mission.
Guilty.
We don't always know what that is. We don't recognize it, but I think this is your mission, to bring truth and justice and expose the radical Islam and the far left for what it is. But anyway, I wanted to ask Mark this question because I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. I want clarification. You said that we have to, if I heard you correctly, you said we have to destroy Islam's core ideology.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? And if so, how do we do that? Just so I can understand you.
Well, first of all, I mean, there's two ways you can do it. You can do it to a violent means or nonviolent means. We're trying to do it to a nonviolent mean. The violent mean is obvious. You go to war, you kill them, and whatever, That is the worst option of all options. If it keeps going down the path that we're going, that is going to be our only option, just like what happened in World War II with Germany. Because you keep giving this side more and more power, more and more resources, more and more money, more and more leverage, they're going to come after you. They can't help it. They have to. It is who they are. So, what would you do before World War II Germany to stop Hitler from coming into power and having that Nazi ideology come into play and have where people are actually going out there and killing people and having bodies that needlessly need to be killed because of this ideology? Well, you have to start taking people, exposing the ideology for what it is, like the KKK. The KKK has a abhorrent ideology. It started to grow massively in the 1920s. It started to flourish. It went through all out the South. Yet you expose the light of truth onto the KKK, and it's now reduced to insignificant. You keep telling the truth. You keep ringing the bell. You keep banging the anvil on the hand. Keep banging the anvil. Keep doing everything you can to say, no, this is an abhorrent ideology. We will not follow it. Tell the left, this is actually a liberal issue. Liberals should be jumping up off the bandwagon saying, no, we hate this ideology, and crush it down to its point of non-existence like the KKK. You have to keep it out. You have to keep spreading it. Nobody has really tried this in a massive scale. We might be just the seeds of it.
Let me ask you this, Mark. Is there not a huge difference between, I think that's not a huge difference, but isn't there a difference between the Nazi ideology and the KKK in the sense that that Islam is a culture of death? I mean, the Nazis, they wouldn't send out their own children to blow themselves up.
Yes, they would. Yes, they did. They did, and they did. It's called the Hitler Youth. They actually were a lot. Look at the kamikaze mentality of Japan. Kamikaze pilots, same type of ideology, and actually the Hitler Youth did that a lot too. So you're factually incorrect on that one.
Okay, perhaps I am. But I respectfully disagree with you. I think vis-a-vis Clausewitz, who says that the objective of war is to disarm the enemy, I think that we have to wage a war like we did with World War II against Islam, a violent war where we will send a message to them that they have to get to a point where they realize that their civilian population is suffering so much injury that they're going to say, hey, maybe we ought not go in this direction. And once we humble them, I think we'll be in a position where we can push them to reform Islam. That's just one man's opinion. Well, I should
Islam,
say, this is the
Islam,
position
at its
of-
Islam at its core, in my opinion, is to have a Zuhdi Jasser type of movement in Islam means rewriting the entire Islamic doctrine. To have that as a goal is a noble goal. Can it be done? Yeah, it's been done in other religions where it was completely, a doctrine. But what I'm trying to say is, at its core essence, Islam is jihad. Jihad is Islam. There's no separating the two. If you want to call yourself a Muslim, if you want to call yourself let me finish. If you want to call yourself a Muslim and say I don't believe in that, then you're not following Islam. Okay, great. That's what we want. If you want to call yourself Islamic and don't believe in the Sharia and don't want to follow the Sharia, more power to you. That's our goal. I could care less if you want to pray to Mecca 5 million times a day, every other day. It doesn't matter to me. That's what America's all about. However, when you try to take that ideology, make draconian laws with it, say that you have to die in order to get your greatest salvation for Islam, and you have to force others to convert to Islam because of your ideology, then I'm going to stand up against you or anybody else like you until the day I die, because that is not America. That is not who we are. And if you are a liberal out there, that should be who you are too. And that you are embracing this ideology, bringing it into your schools and saying, oh yeah, we can have people come here on this campus and spew the most vilest epithets towards Israelis. Come on. Who are you? That's how you defeat this.
I'm sure there are other callers, and I don't want to pick up.
No, this is actually at the core issue of why we're fighting, Judah, and this is the core essence of who we are.
I agree with everything you say, except I still believe that the only way we can humble the Islamics
is by
final waging a violent war against them, where they will know that hey, they will sense that hey, we better not keep up with militaristic jihad because we're getting massacred.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you agree with that, huh?
If only as the last resort. Just like it only as the last resort. Do I want to go to war with Hitler? That's only the last resort. When the other side keeps pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing to the point of no return, you have to defend yourself. You have to defend your ideologies, your values, your perceptions, because the American ideology is far superior than the Islamic Sharia ideology, by far, hands down. I will argue with anybody that to the day I die.
No argument with that. Okay. I'll let you guys go.
Thanks, Judah. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Judah.
48 minutes after 4 o'clock, and we just figured out how to deal with 1.3 billion Muslims. Okay, just this is a complex issue, obviously, but we don't sidestep complex issues. And part of the problem is that countries are sovereign. There's 193, give or take, on any day. 193 nations. 56 of them are Islamic, and they are sovereign nations. They can construct the nation the way they want to. They can have any religion the way they want to. They can do whatever they want to within the boundaries. They can be total lunatics. I mean, there are a bunch of countries that are complete lunatic countries. So go to Yemen. Check out Yemen for a fun ride around town.
I tell you what, free round trip ticket to any liberal who wants to go live in.
Yeah.
Well,
let me kind of pick up where you're going, because countries are sovereign. Now, if there's a sovereign country and they all want to be whack job Muslims that do crazy stuff, the Shias beat themselves up in honor of Ashura, the martyr that died, who is one of their leaders, and they make their little kids bloody. We see it appalling here in the West, but they have the right to do that within the confines of their country, and we can, talk to the United Nations and all of that, and maybe stop trade until they stop some of the abuses of their own children. But if they're not trying to kill us and all of that, they're there. They're Muslims, whatever they want to do. Problem is, Islam does not identify geographic boundaries. That's one subset of Islam, a geographic boundary. Then necessarily by doctrine, they are obligated to exceed, expand, go beyond the boundaries into other areas and to subdue those areas. That's where this thing gets difficult. I mean, one way of looking at this, I'm a Christian. How many people say day in and day night, day in and day out, Christianity is a religion of peace. Christianity is a religion of peace. You ever hear people running around saying that?
Well, everybody knows it. It's a given. It's not like you have to.
I don't have to convince you Christianity is a religion of peace. I mean, I've never said that in my life, I don't think. That's what everybody has to say about Islam because it isn't.
Right. It's a lie.
You've got to change it. If Christianity is a religion of peace, then they're not following the doctrine of the Quran and the Hadith and the Sunnah, these things. So the problems occur when Muslims take the doctrine and expand it beyond their geography, and when they do that, often, certainly on occasion, they fly into New York skyscrapers and knock them down. And we go, how did that happen? Why are they knocking down our building?
That started me on my journey.
Yeah, I mean, why are Muslims flying airplanes into our buildings here? And that's the issues we address. Why they did that? If you analyze why, you see that Islam is a totalitarian on a mission of world domination. Are all 1.3 billion Muslims desirous of dominating the world? No, by no means. Are 19, mostly 15 of them were Saudis. The other 5, one didn't make it. The other 4 were from other countries. Were they on a world mission of domination? Of course, we know everything there is to know about these individuals. So when they start penetrating into the West, we say, how do we deal with this? One of the approaches is what Mark is saying. Well, if you're gonna be in a country and you're going to use it as a base to come and kill us, we're going to come there and kill you. And that's how this war started initially in 2001, October, Afghanistan, 2003, Iraq. Then it kind of got off the rails when George Bush talked about Islam being a religion of peace, and everything started to change, that we had to concede and submit to the religious component of Islam, which is more a political philosophy than a religion. We're viewing Islam unlike the way jihadi Muslims view it. We have to understand it from their war doctrine point of view. Now, how do we fight Islam in the United States? We are not advocates of weapons or military or lethality or anything like that. It's an ideological battle. And we have strong enough principles in the United States of America, strong enough court system, strong enough belief system, at least those of us on the right. The left has conceded all of this to stand against the totalitarian, domineering, supremacist viewpoint of Islam. And we got to fight them in the schools, in the churches, in the law, in the courts, everywhere, ideologically. Now, that may mean at some point certain portions of Islam are banned, are religio illicita. This is an illegal part of a belief system, just like we do with certain forms of Satanism, of Mormonism, of other religions. And say, sorry, you can't do that.
Which is like what happened with the Mormon religion, where they had the FDLS, the Fundamental Latter-day Saints. They are abhorrent to society, and so they are sectioned away from society. They are marginalized, they are minimized, just like the KKK is an abhorrent ideology to America. You marginalize.
We do not. Americans do not have to accept Islam qua Islam. Islam as Islam. We don't have to accept that. Simply because you got a religion that's 1,400 years old, we have to accept it. How does that work? Suppose it doesn't fit with what the United States, what America is all about. We don't have to accept it. If somebody invents a religion tomorrow somewhere and says, you guys got to accept this, no, we don't. We have a system that works quite fine. And if you want to fit into our system, you got to accept that. But you can't do any of that until we get back. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Thanks for tuning in to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Tom Trento can be reached at 561-319-5533 or tom at trentovision.tv. And tune in again weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Hi, I'm Duke Liberatore.
And I'm Dr. Jan McBaron.
We're a husband and wife team.
And together we host the #1 health talk show in the nation,
Duke and the Doctor.
You can hear our show weekday mornings at 10 here on WWNN AM 1470 Health and Wealth Radio.
We'll discuss up-to-date health news, give away gifts, share in a laugh or two, and answer health questions from our callers.
So if you are ready to start feeling happy, healthy, and terrific, then tune in to Duke and the Doctor.
Weekday mornings at 10 on WWNN AM 1470.
Chris, can you put the video game controller down for a second?
I can talk and play. Oh, I'm totally annihilating this punk kid in Nebraska.
I just feel like you're not acting like a grown-up in our relationship.
Am too.
Well, you still ride your skateboard to work, there's the comic book collection, the race car bed.
Look, I'm young at heart, but I put money into my 401k every paycheck. I picked up a few savings tips at feedthepig.org. I have control over my financial life now, and that feels pretty grown up.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. For free ideas and easy tips on ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
So, I bet I look like a grown-up to you now.
Well, except for the footy pajamas, I'd have to agree.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
I was on my second tour of combat duty when I got injured. After extensive rehab and learning how to use a wheelchair, I started looking for an apartment. But many units had steps and narrow doorways. I fought for freedom and thought I would be free to choose where I live.
My husband and I are blessed with 2 young children. Recently, we thought we had found the perfect apartment online, but the listing said no children. Our dream was to have a family, but now that we've found our dream home, we're being denied because we are a family.
After the phone interview, we assumed the apartment was ours.
But when we showed up, the manager was quick to say it's no longer available.
These individuals all experience some form of housing discrimination. If it happens to you, know what to do. Be informed and aware of your rights. The only way to stop housing discrimination is to report it. Take action and visit HUD.gov/fairhousing or call HUD's Housing Discrimination Hotline at 1-800-669-9777. A public service message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Hi, I'm John Cicada. Did you know that chronic hepatitis C affects approximately 1 million Hispanic Americans? I'm visiting my father today, who's part of that statistic. And while not every story is the same, I'd like to tell you his. Such a proud man, old-fashioned, the provider, hardworking man. Stay strong, be silent. But this disease is just as silent. He lived with it for at least 20 years and never mentioned how sick he was getting. Never talked over any of the options with his doctor. If I'd have known more about chronic hepatitis C, I could have encouraged him to take action sooner. Then maybe I'd be visiting him at home instead of here at the cemetery. If you still think there's strength in silence, think again. Please talk to your doctor about your options and learn more at tuneintohepc.com.
This is Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach, and WKIS HD3, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Is Chuck Hagel to be Secretary of Defense? He needs at least 60 votes for confirmation, and most of his own Republican colleagues will vote against him for his previous stands on Israel, Iran, and on homosexuals. John Brennan is expected to be confirmed for CIA Director, but senators want more answers on the Benghazi raid. Jack Lew is also expected to be confirmed as Treasury Secretary, but he faced with tough questions over his previous financial dealings and his ideas on sequestration.
A passenger on the disabled cruise ship slowly headed to shore says conditions on board are terrible with sewage on the floor and cases of food poisoning. As the ship came into sight of shore this afternoon, Carnival told passengers they're delayed again because of winds and won't pull in until midnight. This is IRN USA Radio News.
Losing weight is no laughing matter. It's not funny when your clothes don't fit. It's no joke when you're too overweight to play with your kids. No one's laughing when your knees and back ache and you can't catch your breath. Now there's Purithin Root, an all-natural cellular fiber featured on Dr. Oz and clinically proven to fight off 20, 30, or even 50 pounds. Purithin Root is so serious about your weight loss, we are willing to pay you for every pound you lose. Yes, you heard that right. Pay you for every pound you lose. We are conducting a risk-free trial in this area. Just 2 tabs before you eat. No exhausting workouts or meal replacements. Purithin Root makes losing weight easier, faster, and more convenient than those other shakes, pills, and frozen food diets. Call now for your risk-free trial of Purithin Root.
Call 800-239-9750. That's 800-239-9750. Ask how to get paid per pound. Call 800-239-9750. That's 800-239-9750.
Secretary of State John Kerry says North Korea's nuclear test must have consequences.
This week's test was an enormously provocative act that warrants a strong, a swift, and a credible response from the global community.
Kerry says the administration's working to build support for a tough response to the North Korean test.
We're going to ramp up our coordination with the 6-party partners, with the Security Council and other UN members and other allies and partners in order to guarantee that we respond appropriately.
The Associated Press has discovered a confidential letter written by a senior al-Qaeda commander spelling out the terror network strategy for conquering northern Mali. The 9-page letter that was left by fleeing fighters is signed by the leader of al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb. Among other things, it expresses concerns about French military intervention and reveals a sharp division within al-Qaeda's Africa chapter over how quickly and how strictly to apply Islamic law. For the latest news and analysis, log on to IRNUSAnews.com.
With the Ace Bag Sale this Saturday, getting 20% off almost everything you can fit into a bag takes planning. Say you spot some light bulbs. You might not want to put those in the bag first, especially if you add a gallon of paint, which is also 20% off, like the duct tape, which will help if the bag tears when you add a second gallon of paint, which will make the whole bag 20% off and very heavy. At Ace, the helpful place. Discount is off regular priced in-stock merchandise. It fits inside one bag at one time. Good at participating stores February 16th only. Limit one bag and offer per customer. Other conditions apply. See store for details.
The Interior Department says automatic spending cuts set to take effect next month could lead to reduced hours and services at national parks, wildlife refuges, and other public lands. The department is preparing to reduce hours and services at all 398 national parks and possibly could close up to 128 wildlife refuges. The cuts are outlined in a letter to the Senate Appropriations Committee. Paralympic superstar Oscar Pistorius has been charged with the murder of a woman who was shot inside his home in South Africa.
Oscar Pistorius is going to be held overnight by South African police authorities. Pistorius should appear on Friday morning in a court in Pretoria, which is South Africa's capital. Pistorius will answer to charges stemming from the shooting death of his girlfriend.
Correspondent John Gambrell reports South African police are wary of releasing details about the shooting.
We do know that there was a 9mm pistol that was involved in the shooting and that Pistorius' girlfriend was shot 4 times. The police said that there had been previous calls to the house that Pistorius lives in. They would not offer any more details about that, but the implication seems to be that there may have been trouble at the house.
A Mexican drug kingpin is being labeled Chicago's public enemy #1. The Chicago Crime Commission and the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration says it's singling out Joaquin El Chapo Guzman for his role as leader of the Sinaloa cartel, which supplies the bulk of narcotics sold in the city. The label was first given to gangster Al Capone in 1930. With IRN USA Radio News, I'm Hope Duggar.
Here's some great news from Tom Trento, host of the daily WNN Trento Vision Show. Due to the unparalleled success of the Trento Vision Show, you now have an amazing opportunity to advertise on the Trento Vision Show. If you want more information about this excellent opportunity for your business, please contact Tom Trento at 561-319-5533, or you can email him, tom@trentovision.tv. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to Trentovision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trentovision is hosted by Tom Trento. Tom can be reached at 561-319-5533 or Tom at trentovision.tv. Listen and watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and trentovision.tv. Now, let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
Okay. You know, I probably should get our audience up to speed a little bit.
Yes, you should.
And we have, hi, it's Tom Trento for those of you on the radio side and even on the video side, just tuning in. The way Drive Time Radio works, it applies to, can you check the signal? I think it just fell off and our invisible mic is invisible.
No, I just checked it again.
You got it again? Okay.
Yeah, it's on our end.
Okay, there we go.
The
way Drive Time works is it means that the time is when you're driving in your car. So Drive Time afternoon drive is about 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. That's the rush hour time. So we are on Drive Time in the afternoons. Do it again. I have to put my glasses on. Okay. We're on Drive Time 3 to 6. If you are a long-time listener viewer, we started on September 3rd, Monday, Labor Day. We were 1 hour a day. What were we on, 2 to 3? Yeah, we were on 2 to 3.
Right.
And our original purpose, we were going to be on September, October, up to the 6th of November, actually to the end of November. Our purpose was national security issues. In particular, our goal was to awaken Americans, Floridians, to the failures of President Obama on national security issues and to vote against him and his party if you want a safer world, safer America, in particular as it related to Islamic Jihad. That was our purpose. We failed in doing that. President Obama got reelected. It seems that when you are Santa Claus, instead of a president, you could have more people vote for you. And if you've noticed lately, the Obama phones $2.2 billion program is a complete scam. Most of the people on it cannot prove that they were eligible. And most citizens in America who have cell phones have a little charge of about $2.65 per month. Guess where that money goes? That goes to pay for the Obama phone
I did not know
program.
that, Tom.
Yes, you and I are paying for the Obama phone program. Yeah, it's called the Lifeline program. It actually started...
The Lifeline program?
Yeah, that never one without money not have a lifeline to people, so they have their cell phones.
So doesn't everybody have...
Obama phones! I got my Obama phone! Remember that lady? That's the Lifeline program. And that lady, I got my Obama phone! Now she's saying she'll never vote for Obama again. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But in any event, that's a scam. We know that. This president's a scam. We know that. We tried to tell you guys. You didn't want to listen. Now you're dealing with what we have here. But we stayed on the air after November. In fact, we bumped up and went to 3 hours drive time. And we made a lot of appeals to for commercial advertisers and for donations, and we still need both of those. But if you notice lately, we haven't been pushing commercials as much. We apologize to our commercial friends out there that we're promoting their items. We are experimenting with a different, a variety of formats and a variety of nuances to bring you the most unique, cutting-edge type of show that we can. And I'll just suffice to say, in the days ahead, you're going to see some very interesting changes. Some pretty neat changes.
Some really cool changes.
Going to be some cool stuff. We have some new equipment. The area may look a little different here, but hang with us. We got great stuff. We will have regular segments of people like Diana West. Going to bring her on regularly.
Exactly.
We got really good stuff. You will get very well informed. We are uncensored. We can't say 7 words, but no one tells us what to say, what to do. We have complete freedom. WNN 1470, Trento Vision. We let people in. We're not crazy. We don't yell and scream at people who disagree with us, but we'll have a nice intellectual discussion, make it a little heated, make it a little crazy, but we don't hate Muslims, we don't hate people. Mark's a Unitarian, so he loves everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a
Kumbaya.
Christian, and I have to love people, even the people I hate. Okay, I gotta love people. Even it says love your enemy. So if you're my enemy, guess what? I love you. See, that's how beautiful Christianity is, and I will give my life for you in many respects. So stay tuned. There's a lot going on here. Let's take Valanda. Then I'm going to get into a couple of items. We'll roll that video in a little bit too, Mike, that we've been promising everybody
we have
about
Ruth on
Spanish
our line,
Rising.
too.
Oh, we got Ruth and well, let's get Valanda first. Then we'll go to Ruth. Then we'll do a few items here.
All right.
Valanda, how are you, our friend?
How are you, Mr. Trento? How are you, Mark?
Doing fantastic.
But Mark, let's go together. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Happy Valentine's Day, Valanda.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. But if, as you know, Tom, those of us who are Christians, most of your day should be Valentine's Day. This day
There
is
you
just a
go.
formality.
Amen. Amen. We
Okay.
like that.
Now,
I'll give you
I have a
Unitarian
question because I was in and out yesterday, and I couldn't call in. I wanted to ask one of your guests, and I don't know if I'm playing. Yeah, I do know what I'm doing. I'm playing the devil's advocate here.
Okay.
Okay.
He mentioned the success of the United Arab Emirates, and I'm thinking in my mind as he was speaking, I guess he was talking about the zones and whatnot, and why the Palestinian two-state solution wouldn't work. And I said the same thing, but as he was saying that, something came to mind. 17 or 19 of those hijackers that donned airplanes on September the 11th, 2001, they were from the United Arab Emirates. Will you correct me if I'm wrong, Tom?
Yeah, no. 15 were from Saudi Arabia. That's
Okay.
that's where they came from. Not the Qadar was the speaker talking about an 8-state solution.
Yeah, and I was listening at that, and believe it or not, there was a lot in it that I found and that I could concur with, because not many people think of the tribal nature of the Middle East. That's true. They don't think that most of that area, even if you're in parts of Africa, there's still the concept of the tribe and tribalism.
Right.
So when you go in and you say, for example, that everybody wants democracy, because I heard this come out of Condi Rice's mouth too, and I have tremendous respect for her, but I disagree. That is not true. George Bush used to say that. That's not true. There are people whose freedom exists in totally within the concepts of the Quran and Islam. They consider that freedom. Freedom is in being basically a slave to Allah.
Yep. Good point.
Fomenting jihad. So,
Well, you know more. What you just said there
exactly
is more insightful into the doctrine of Islam than the next director of the CIA, John Brennan. He does not understand what you understand. You're looking for a job? You want to?
There you go.
You want to be the next
for CIA?
Yeah,
director,
right. I would vote for her before Brennan. Are you kidding me?
100%.
Man.
He is to me. He is very. He is scary.
Oh yeah.
When I heard, I think there was a passage that you read where he was talking about the Islamic State. It was as if there was a portion of him being lifted out of his body. It had totally been taken over by an entity.
No, that's a good observation. What?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's a very good observation, because
I missed that one.
He is he speaks in that sense, almost as well. This thing has overtaken him. The Islamic culture and experience and the conversion now, according to John Guandolo, has overtaken him. So that's a good observation. I'm going to read a little something about him in a second. We're gonna finish with you, get Ruth. Then I'm going to read something about John Guandolo talking about Brennan, and then go into the issue of moderate Muslims. But before that, we're going to show you what CARE thinks about you, Valanda, and CJ, our Jewish friend, and Mark, our Unitarian friend.
By the way, I miss her.
Yeah, I know. We do too. Okay. We do too. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, Valanda.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring Ruthie in here. Ruth, is this our Ruth?
Hi, Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy
Valentine's.
Mike. Happy Valentine's Day, Ruth.
Woo.
Oh, that sounded great.
Yes.
Lipstick fondant. There
I
you
want
go.
to mention, I tweeted your coverage of the Israeli Apartheid Week at FAU and the SJP and how you were kicked out, and I got a response from a person. I want to read a response.
Sure.
He stated, Israeli thugs attacked a peaceful occupation and the thugs were ejected.
Israeli thugs. Oh, first of all, I'm not
I just thought you might
Israeli.
enjoy that. And I looked at
Tom, are you Israeli?
up.
I
looked this person up,
Yeah.
and it turns out his profile identified him as an active communist.
Israeli thugs. So Mark and I were the Israeli thugs. What did we do?
Right.
Right. What did we do? And read the rest of it.
It said Israeli thugs attacked a peaceful occupation.
Attacked it.
And the thugs were ejected.
Oh, that's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good tweet. Was he tweeting?
He tweeted that.
Yeah, he picked some good words. They're very emotive and descriptive and
emotional. And
yeah. That's
violent. Yeah.
You know. I mean, okay. So now if we deconstruct it, we're not Israeli. Are you Israeli?
Not unless I check.
I've been mistaken a million times to be.
I've been to Israel once, and I'm glad I went as visiting and
Yeah,
went to a
very
security
cool.
tour and learned a lot about the apartheid.
But you are a
wall.
little thuggish, though. You could
I
be
could be a
thuggish.
thug.
Yes.
I
Okay,
could
so
be a thug,
we'll give him that. We're not Israelis. We could be thuggish, I guess. We attacked. Yeah, we did.
No.
Ideological attack.
But not physical.
No.
He meant it as a physical attack.
Oh, we'll give him 50-50 on that because it's an ideological attack.
Okay, all right.
And then we were thrown out. Yeah, you got that right.
You got that right.
Okay.
Occupation. It was
Occupation.
Occupation.
Oh, so they were occupying the classroom where they were.
They were.
Okay, so he's right. The guy's 100% right. Good tweet, Mr. Communist. He's right on communism, too, because that system works very well. So what else is new, Ruth?
Well, no, you got the Israeli part.
But so in addition to the Muslim Brotherhood, you've got the communists that infiltrated that meeting, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And but two of us in this room infiltrated communists about a year ago in Chicago. So we'll show that video sometimes. Hey, thank you, Ruthie. Have a great day. And
Have a great afternoon.
you're the lipstick pundit. You are doing phenomenal work.
But I'm a teddy bear, Tom. I'm not a thug.
Okay.
I'm a big teddy bear. Ruthie
you are.
knows that.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of Guandolo here at 18 minutes past 5 o'clock on the East Coast WNN. If you want to listen on the radio, this is pretty cool. If you want to listen on the radio, if you want to listen to us on the radio on the WNN website, okay, get ready for this. You have to go to a URL, to an internet address, and it's www.wwnnradio.com. So if I do it real fast, www.NN Radio. Just go to Trento
Thanks
Vision.
for clearing
Just
that
go
up.
to Trento
Thanks for
Vision.
clearing that up, Tom.
Yeah. Or iHeartRadio. See, the official name, you always have 4 letters, and they start with W if you are where. Anybody know that in the radio
east
world?
of the Mississippi.
East of the Mississippi. If you're west of the Mississippi?
K.
But why? We'll tell you another time. So we are officially WWNN 1470. But somebody...
Kilo and whiskey, by the way.
Somebody in their great wisdom said, screw that one W. It's too many W's. Make it just WNN. So it's WNN. But if you want to get to the website, it's www.NN Radio. Okay? So iHeartRadio is the easiest way. Or Trento Vision or TeaPartyCommunity.com. We are national security. We do national security stuff. We inform people, and we're all things opposed to President Obama. There's not one item that I think I agree with that is a belief system with the president. Anything on you? Is there anything you can say, I'm with the president on this?
Yes, I actually do. I do
What is
have
that?
one. And it's a day it's going to be celebrated 1 month from now. He passed a resolution. He signed into resolution National Pie Day.
Oh, my word.
And he actually did in 2009. He actually, and it's an official recognized
National Pie Day?
Pie Day. You know, like number PI 3.
Oh,
pie.
not pie, like pie eating day.
Right. Like pie 314 pie.
Oh,
And It's officially recognized day as a celebration. It's celebrated on 3/14.
Oh.
And I think it's a brilliant thing. It's Jess and I's new favorite holiday of the
National
all
Pie Day. I
year.
think you're talking about apple pie.
Well, they actually
or
they do actually
coconut
serve
custard
pies
pie.
on Pie Day.
Okay.
So I'm actually in 100%
All right.
agreement with Obama
All
on
right.
that one. So yes, I have
Well,
found
that-
something.
Okay, well then maybe you can win me over. I'm not quite there. No, I'm not quite there, but I did see Mark Levine, the excellent talk show host, radio talk show host, attorney, constitutional attorney, give a State of the Union response. He was on Hannity, I believe. I saw some cuts of it, and he finds no simpatico with the president either. Most people that are analysts, that are thinkers, really find nothing with this president who's a doctrinaire Marxist, socialist, and pro-Islamic Muslim Brotherhood. But let's get to John Guandolo. Last Friday broke a story that we actually broke the story here. John was the author of an article, and much of the article has been reproduced on his blog. So I'm just going to read a couple of paragraphs to kind of set the context for the next few moments. So follow along, everybody out there listening and watching. Now, John Brennan is the yet-to-be confirmed nominee, the president's nominee to be the head of the CIA, the top spy. You would think you want a top spy that's a good spy and understands the way the enemy thinks. Well, follow this.
Okay.
Dear friends, John's writing on his blog as of yesterday. In the swirl of the news stories following my interviews regarding the facts that make John Brennan unfit for government service in the national security apparatus of the United States, few places in the media understood the issue of Mr. Brennan's background and why it directly impacts his loyalties to America and to his ability to fulfill those duties in any national security billet, specifically as the director of the CIA. And it's actually DCIA, Director of Central Intelligence. I want to do my best to clarify why Mr. Brennan is unfit to serve as America's CIA director. Gabish so far?
Okay.
Next paragraph. Let's get the elephant in the room out of the way first. When Mr. Brennan was serving, John says, let's get the elephant in the room out of the way first. When Mr. Brennan was serving as the chief of station, that's the top spy in a country, for the CIA, in what country? In what country?
Is this a rhetorical question?
Yes, it's rhetorical.
Okay.
What country?
United States.
No. When he was serving as the chief of station for the CIA in
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, the U.S. representative to the Saudi government for intelligence matters, that's who he was. He befriended and was befriended by Saudi government officials, including Saudi intelligence officers. Oh my! What a surprise!
That the Muslim Brotherhood actually has counterintelligence officers in an organization that's trying to have world domination. Oh, what a surprise!
What a surprise! This was a recruitment effort on behalf of Saudi intelligence, which is a very aggressive intel service. They go after all U.S. government officials and Italian officials at one point and another while they're in Saudi Arabia.
Really?
I have been to Saudi Arabia, John speaking. I have been to Saudi Arabia, both as a Marine and as an FBI agent, and worked cases with and involving Saudi intelligence. And people don't know this. Contacts of mine who are still in the active service of the U.S. government were present in Saudi Arabia when Mr. Brennan served there, and these individuals have direct knowledge of his conversion to Islam. Can that be any
Bingo.
clearer?
No.
These individuals are well regarded in their agencies and have impeccable integrity. Please understand they are in a tough spot and will not come forward to speak publicly on this. Additionally, any more specific information about this will risk their anonymity, as there are few folks who have direct knowledge of these matters. To highlight the hostile intelligence operations against the U.S. officials in Saudi Arabia, Mr. Brennan is only one of several CIA chiefs of station who converted to Islam while serving in their
so there's
official
more than
capacity there. Yes.
More than one.
There are more than one.
You know what? That's really surprised. This has to be the first time in history, Tom, that any organization that's an enemy of another state like the United States has ever tried to recruit anybody to their side. That it has to be the first time in history this has ever happened.
Except when I read a little while earlier that the ambassador to Saudi Arabia from Italy just converted to Islam.
Now, this has to be a total aberration. I've never heard of this before. I've never heard of clandestine operations to convert people over to the other side to get them to switch and support their side. I've never heard of that before. Now, you've got to be making this up, Tom.
Now we should, what we'll do sometime for you folks. We'll give you the particulars of an IO. That's what we should do. We'll tell you. In fact, we'll get some of our friends who did this kind of stuff, whose job was to recruit other people in other countries. We'll get them on the phone, maybe disguise their voice or something, and we'll tell you exactly how they do this and why they do it. And it isn't, hey, you got to become a Muslim or we're going to chop your head off.
I'm sure that's the way they do it.
Yeah. It is a slow process.
They wouldn't be friendly and nice to them, would they?
Friendly process.
They wouldn't give them presents and be nice and show them the wonders and feed them dinners.
It's a psychological process that you can be a good American, you can even be a good Christian, but if you are Islam, if you come to Islam, then all of this fits together.
Right.
And if you're going to work with
many wives
Muslims,
and many women,
and you want to work with Muslims,
and you have honor,
you want to advance in your career.
That's right. And we got lots of money over here too.
Do you know
Look how much money we have?
Do you know how good you know how well you will be received by the Islamic world
and the media?
If you just say that Allah is one and Muhammad is his prophet. That's all you got to do. Say the Shahada,
and you're done.
There is no other God
but
Allah.
Love you.
He is one, and Muhammad is his prophet.
And we'll get along with you. We'll love you. You have access to anywhere that you want to go here in Saudi Arabia. We'll open up the red carpets for you. We will love you till the love just drips off of us.
And you can be the full person that God meant you to be. Now, imagine 10 years of that stuff, okay? That was 10 seconds.
While you're trying to get access into different places, and you say, yeah, I'll do it. And then, you end up buying into it.
While there is no way, paragraph 3, and I'm just going to end there. If you want to see it, go to understandingthethreat.com. Understandingthethreat.com, John Gondolo's website. Go to his blog, and you can read essentially his article that tells this. While there is no way to corroborate Mr. Brennan's conversion other than with the testimonies of these individuals, a great deal of factual evidence exists which demonstrates Mr. Brennan's loyalties do not lie with the United States of America. His support of Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood and his refusal to investigate the Muslim Brotherhood's activities in the United States, despite a mountain of factual evidence, are significant data points that must be considered. This past summer, 2012, when Congresswoman Bachmann and 4 other members of Congress requested that 5 senior inspector generals inside the government open investigations into the Muslim Brotherhood's penetration of our system, Mr. Brennan literally laughed at the matter. He literally laughed the matter off. At a minimum, this is gross professional misconduct. If he knows of the Muslim Brotherhood activities in the United States to undermine our society and intentionally fails to take action, this may be a criminal violation, whether he's a Muslim or not.
Misprision of treason.
Okay, now I'm going to
That's what he's referring
the U.S. News report from yesterday. It's called U.S. News. U.S. News. This is on Washington Whispers. And the report is that a Muslim advocacy group, in response to our show last Friday, states there is no evidence that John Brennan converted to Islam.
Okay,
now watch this.
All right.
Now dig this, folks. We did the show last Friday. John laid out the evidence. I just read a couple of paragraphs saying there was a conversion, and his behavior indicates that the conversion is consistent with the belief system.
And since just to add a little bit to that, and since that time, we have had numerous people who are inside the agency who know John Brennan personally.
Yeah, people from wherever, yeah.
And who have actually verified John's claim, and it's a done.
Yeah, and it's very, very difficult because this is, look, I mean, if we were on the other side in a sense and people were saying this sort of stuff, we would be a little askance. Show me the proof. Show me the proof. Well, a lot of times you can't show the direct evidence because of the propriety of the people that are there, and they get in a lot of trouble and probably get killed, actually. But listen to this now.
Okay.
Former FBI agent John Guandolo incited an internet buzz this week. How did that happen?
And this is this pro-Islamic advocacy group, right?
Yeah, this is a pro-Muslim group. And the article is about this pro-Muslim group, but the writer of the article is just writing factually. Former FBI agent John Guandolo incited an internet buzz this week, our show, by accusing John Brennan, and he didn't really accuse him, he just said President Obama's nominee to lead the CIA of secretly converting to Islam while working as a station chief in Saudi Arabia from 96 to 99.
Right.
Guandolo's evidence was scant. Largely, that Brennan said during a public address. This shows you how bad this is. Here's Guandolo's evidence was scant. Largely, that Brennan said during a public address that he marveled at the majesty of the Hajj. The Hajj is what?
Their trip to go to those stones it rocks.
Yeah, to go to Mecca. One of the 5 pillars of Islam is that. If you are physically able, at least once in your lifetime, you have to do the Hajj, H-A-J-J. You have to travel to Mecca and then go to the Kabbalah, the big black building that's about 30 by 30 by 20. And in it is a meteorite, a special stone, and touch the stone. And then a whole bunch of ceremonies for several days. The pilgrimage to Mecca. So Guandolo, they're saying, and this isn't what John said, that Brennan, during a public address, marveled at the majesty of the Hajj. He did say that. Something Guandolo says can only be done as a Muslim inside Mecca. That isn't, I don't think he said that, John.
No.
He just said he marveled at it in such a way that it was beyond what a typical person would do. And if he did go to the Hajj, then only Muslims can go in there. Oh, is that apartheid?
I know. I was going to bring that up, but...
WorldNet Daily, a website that specializes in reporting on conspiracy theories, took notice of the interview, and it went in the Daily Mail, Al Arabiya, the Salon, the Blaze, all these publications put it in. Ibrahim Hooper. Now we're getting down to brass tacks here.
Oh, the one that Bill O'Reilly called the stand-up guy?
Oh, God. See, we need B-roll here. We need stuff to show people while we're talking, except just our wonderful
Bill
faces.
O'Reilly calls Ibrahim Hooper a stand-up guy.
You will be seeing more of that in the future. We're going to be producing more of a television show. Ibrahim Hooper, the communications director of the Council of American Islamic Relations, an unindicted co-conspirator,
a known Muslim Brotherhood Hamas front group,
told U.S. News that he has no knowledge of Brennan converting to Islam. I know nothing about Brennan converting to Islam.
Sergeant Sulch.
In fact, Hooper pointed out, now we're digging in, folks. Watch this. In fact, Hooper, one of the top guys in one of the most horrible Muslim organizations in America, the Council on American Islamic Relations. It's a cultural terrorist organization. They can't condemn Hamas. They can't condemn terrorism. They are bad people. If you're a member of that, you are an enemy of the state of the United States of America.
Go see the Holy Land Foundation trial documents.
So mean. In fact, Hooper pointed out his group opposes Brennan's nomination, largely because of his role in operating the CIA drone that targets terrorists, but has also killed civilians.
Oh, okay.
So they're taking this position that we don't even like Brennan. Even if he's a Muslim, we don't like him, right? Hooper predicted that the story would gain traction in the right-wing echo chamber. Now, this is pretty good.
Hello.
Hooper's a ad guy. He's an ad guy. So this is funny. I thought this was funny. The right-wing echo chamber, that's us right here.
Us.
Where someone throws some spaghetti against the wall.
That's
pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
and then they all pick it up and email it to each other. That's pretty good. I got to admit.
We got to give Ibrahim a hand. Good job, Ibrahim. That was a good one.
Doogie, that was pretty good.
That was pretty good, Doogie. Yeah.
That was good. I got to admit. That was good writing. Where'd you get that from? Who's your writer? That was good.
That was good.
You have to look at the source, said Hooper, pointing to John Guandolo's role in the firing of a Muslim police officer in Ohio.
Oh.
But here's the beauty now. Here's where we're going to zero in on this is Hooper, the spaghetti guy, Spaghetti Hooper. Hooper himself, an American convert to Islam, clarified to U.S. News that Muslims, now we're getting to the doctrine, folks, Muslims believe people actually revert to the religion of Islam.
What's a revert, Tom?
Okay. Muslims believe people actually revert to the religion. Hooper then goes on to say, and I'm quoting, and this, if you got nothing else out of today, folks, you want to learn something about Islam? Listen to what I'm going to read. This is a doctrinal position. You can't be a serious Muslim. You cannot be a vital Muslim. You cannot be a real valid Muslim unless you believe what I'm about to read. If you believe what I'm about to read, you're whacked out, okay? You're completely whacked out in your worldview and your understanding of reality. What I'm about to read shows the complete and dramatic clash of civilizations between Islam and the rest of the world. I think I'll read it tomorrow.
No, read it now. I'll read it now.
Okay, here we go. I'm quoting from Ibrahim Hooper, the communications director in Washington, D.C. for the cultural terrorist organization Council on American Islamic Relations. Hooper says, everyone in the world, everyone is born in a state of Islam, and your parents make you into something else, Jewish or Christian, he said. What? Huh?
That's right out of the Sharia.
Let me read this again. An American convert to Islam criticizing John Guandolo and all of us stated that everyone is born in a state of Islam and your parents make you into something else, Jewish or Christian. Okay, everybody listening and watching.
It's a teachable moment.
Yeah, exactly. It's the belief, it's the doctrinal belief, the authoritative, fundamental, necessary belief of Islam that every human being born is a Muslim at birth. You are born into Islam. You are born a Muslim. You want to know what revert means? Your parents force you into a fraud religion, into an infidel or kafir religion, Judaism or Christianity, Hinduism or something else. When you accept Islam, either through an invitation, through subjugation, or through death, when you accept it, you revert back to what you originally were born into. 888-565-1470. Everybody's a Muslim out there. Give us a call if you didn't know that. You didn't know that you were a Muslim according to Islamic doctrine as articulated absolutely perfectly by Ibrahim Hooper, Spaghetti Man for Care. Let me continue with what he says. The conversion process itself, Hooper noted, is uttering a short profession of faith, the Shahada. From that moment on, you're a Muslim, said Hooper. The Shahada is simply saying Allah is one, there is no other God but Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet. Once you say that,
you just said that, Tom.
Oh my God, I'm a Muslim! Can I revert?
Revert.
Back up. Okay, I'm back to a Christian. Woo! I better not say that again. Allah is one, and Muhammad. Greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world. Okay, so I don't have any problem with that. Believe me. But Ibrahim Hooper And it makes so much sense if you buy into the doctrines of it. This is what we try to explain to people. Well, what is this? What is he talking about? He's talking about everybody on the face of the earth is born into Islam. They believe that everyone is a Muslim at birth. Your family forces you into another religion. That's why they will use the sword to force you back into what you originally were. Now you start to understand the war doctrine, the logic as Christians and Jews do. God. 41 minutes after 5 o'clock.
I see the headlines tomorrow, Tom.
Yeah, what?
Trento converts to Islam by pronouncing Shahada.
And converts back. Let me finish this, then we'll take a call. Everyone is born into a state of Islam, and your parents make you into something else, Jewish, Christian, he said. The conversion process, Hooper noted, is utterly short profession of faith. From that moment on, you're a Muslim, said Hooper. Of course, it helps if you believe this. Oh, yeah. The Daily Mail compared Guandolo's accusation about Brennan to the plot of the popular TV show Homeland, in which a Muslim is abducted, converted, then sent back to the U.S. to wreak havoc. Other prominent people accused of secretly being Muslim include former New York Representative Anthony Weiner, who is Jewish, and the United Kingdom's Prince Charles. I didn't know about that. But
well, I'm going to throw this out there. Where do you think these writers of Homeland actually get their information? Do you think they make all this stuff up?
Oh, I know where they get it. Ask me how I know where they get it.
How do I know?
I've been involved with them. How about that? In 2008, I was involved in distributing 30 million copies of Obsession, Radical Islam's War Against the West. And Howard Gordon, the executive producer of 24, remember 24?
Right.
He loved our movie, Obsession, Radical Islam's War Against the West. And he did an endorsement, and we printed the endorsement on 30 million copies of Obsession, Radical Islam's War Against the West, and everybody needs to watch that movie. It changed my life dramatically in 2006. 2008, I was involved in distributing 30 million copies. That's common knowledge. And it was a phenomenal program designed to make a national security argument which would show the inabilities of President Obama to defeat John McCain. That program worked out real well. Problem there was the economy fell apart the third week we launched the program. But once we launched it, the Islamic world went nuts. The world went nuts.
Right.
World went nuts. And the CARE and all these phony baloney Muslim organizations put tremendous pressure on Howard Gordon to the point where he had a press conference in Los Angeles with MPAC, Muslim Public Affairs Committee, that we've dealt with Sheriff Baca and others out there. And they condemned the movie. They condemned us by name. They condemned everything that was going on. And they were forced, Howard Gordon, 24, which was one of my favorite shows back then. They were forced to tell the MPAC and the Muslim organizations in Hollywood that oversee movie making that they would never use Muslims in their shows anymore in a negative stereotype, right? So the whole Hollywood industry changed to the point where Nazis came back into...
I love the one where the IRA is the person.
The IRA is back, or this bizarre kind of cultish person is now the new... No more Muslim jihadis around.
Right.
So Homeland,
white blonde hair.
Homeland has Americans that were sent back, but it's really an American, and it's not a real Muslim.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy stuff.
Because you can't say anything about it. So that's what they invented. They invented this.
We got somebody on the line. Let's take somebody, and then
we want to get to the video, though, don't we?
Yeah, we'll take just real quickly.
Real quick, okay.
Who is it?
Liberal Bob.
Hey, Bob, how are you? Just very quickly, how are you? We got to show you a video.
I'm fine, thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Okay. Bye. Thanks, Bob.
Are you there? We'll let you talk. Where's he gone? He really gone. Okay.
No, I'm here.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yes. What do you want?
I think you guys talk to yourselves.
Thank you.
I think, yes, I do.
Okay.
I think if Brennan was in the CIA,
okay,
how long?
25 years, 20 years, quite a long time. 20 years.
So he was there 8 years during George Bush's. administration and worked his way up. Was there no vetting there about his Muslim connection?
No, there was none. Just like there was no.
Oh my God, our whole theory falls apart. Okay, we lose, you win. Don't you listen to the show, Bob?
We attack Bush all the time on this.
I don't listen to the show because now I have Sirius and Left and POTUS.
And Sirius what?
Sirius and what?
Sirius and Politico U.S.
Okay, well, in any event, we have spent many hours explaining the failures of the Bush administration in vetting the Muslim Brotherhood's takeover of the Bush White House, where the right-hand man to George Bush, Rahman Alamoudi, who is now doing 23 years in federal penitentiary, was the advisor to President George Bush on Muslim affairs, on the penal system, on what imams would be in the prisons, and on what imams would serve in the U.S. military. And it goes on from there. He had about 8 people, George.
Who was the Islamic advisor to John McCain and to Mitt Romney?
The Muslim advisor to them?
Obvious. Islamic advisor. Whatever you're talking about as far as a threat to us, was there nobody there that is equal to whatever John Brennan is? Come on. Give me a break.
No. I don't know. I think I did hear that that somebody was trying to, a Muslim leader, a prominent Muslim leader, was trying to be an advisor to Romney, and I don't know if that ever reached the surface. But thank you for your call. We got to show a video right now. Take a look at this.
Show a video. Goodbye.
All right, goodbye.
Goodbye. Yeah.
I don't listen to your
George
show.
Bush, it's all George Bush.
But I call you every day anyway, though I don't listen to the show because I'm liberal, Bob. So
because I hate George Bush more than anything in the world.
Bob's okay. He's just
like him though, but he gets a little confused sometimes. But
the medication wears off. No big deal.
Cookies and milk.
Yeah. That's right. Bob needs cookies. Bob served.
They give hats off to Bob for serving.
You never know with these guys. But
I'll take him at his word. Take him at his word.
All right. I will. All right. Let's make a little transition. We've just proved that everybody in the world is a Muslim. And whatever your faith you're following right now, you need to revert back to Islam. And again, theoretically, if that were the case and everybody reverted back, then there would be peace because everybody would be subjugated to the point, submitting, of having to follow the caliphate and Sharia law. So the world would be, there'd be no freedom and no beauty and no joy and no love and no wonder and no Valentine's Day. Is there Valentine's Day in Islam?
No, it's illegal.
So, is there a Christmas in Islam? I don't think so.
No.
Is there a Hanukkah in Islam?
No.
I don't think so. They got Eid. Okay. In any event, but we don't hate Muslims. I'm telling you that. We just believe that a system you're following, logically and intellectually, does not is not consistent under the weight of Western scrutiny. So, consider that, you guys. All right, now we're going to the suppression of free speech, which is gaining dominance with this administration.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like opposition. And Mark and I experienced it many times, but we experienced it the other day at FAU, Florida Atlantic University. But right now, we're going to show you a video from Sons of Liberty. Introduce who Sons of Liberty are, then we'll bring this in.
They're an educational group trying to express Western ideology, Western values, Western traditions. Go ahead, Mike, play the video.
Wait, let me set the video up. They went to the Spanish River High School yesterday by invitation of a student group, not under the authority of the school. Right now, the federal courts have said that this was a big battle in the 80s. I was in the middle of this thing. The courts have said that student groups led by student leaders with no school officials involved have the freedom to have virtually any kind of speaker they want as long as it's not illegal. So this group on this campus invited in these guys. They're Christians, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They're Christians, but they have kind of a contemporary message, all of that. So a student group led by student leaders operating within the boundary of the First Amendment, invited Sons of Liberty, which is a guy, what's his name? Bernard?
Bradley.
Bradley Dean.
Bradley Dean.
Invited him to come and speak to a group of 30 or 40 people. He went there yesterday.
Yes.
Starts to speak, and the principal and the officials come out, break the thing up, and you're going to see a couple of minutes of the confrontation between a Christian minister legally invited on campus and school officials absolutely violating his First Amendment right to be there. Let's roll it.
I was a little surprised that a teacher, well, I don't know if he was a teacher, but someone
Mike,
who worked at this
audio.
school here, was telling
Mike, on.
students that
Wow.
we're not supposed to uphold the constitutional values given by our founding fathers while on school property.
Read what that says.
Please note, this presentation was pre-approved by the administration. Posters have been lost it. Slow down.
There's 2 or 3 of those. Read all the subtitles.
Listen again carefully as the teacher in the background states, you don't have a First Amendment right when you're on a public school campus.
But as any U.S. government, don't have a First Amendment right when you're on a public school.
Oh,
Wow,
I just
you
heard
don't have
that.
a First
Yeah, I just heard
Amendment
that. That is absolutely wrong.
Notice the principal pushing the teacher out of the conversation after realizing what this teacher said.
That's exactly what I'm talking about right there. Let's go. He just said it. Hey.
Yeah, your free speech. Hey, you just used your free speech on a school campus. Wow, what a hypocrite. We can't.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech. It went off too quick. Supreme Court case Tinker versus Des Moines in 1969 concluded that students do not leave their the script. Is
Yeah, they're going.
just
They don't leave it up long enough.
When you look at the oath that our veterans take to serve we the people, they swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America.
After the event, the students gathered outside to hear Bradley speak. So they had to leave the school, but the student group went out. Now he's speaking to them out in the mud.
All right.
Yeah, you can end that now,
Yeah,
Mike.
you can end it now, Mike.
All right, so I think we'll pick up with this tomorrow because this is a very, very big issue. Can we get Bradley? You met Bradley, right?
Yeah, I'll try to get him on.
Let's have Bradley on tomorrow. We'll have him explain all of this. There may be a lawsuit in the offing here. So Bradley tomorrow, we'll go into this, 888-565-1470 tomorrow. We want to hear about the suppression of Christians' rights on campus. This is right here. Also tomorrow, very, very important presentation by Gary Bernson, former station chief, several places in the CIA. He has he just put out a blockbuster article. We're gonna it's out on the internet, but we're gonna have him on exclusively tomorrow, where he's calling for President Obama to go to Tehran, Iran, and meet with Ayatollah Khomeini to negotiate a peace settlement. Right. You're not going to believe what this is all about, but we'll tell you all about it tomorrow.
It's
right now,
actually very, very, very.
It is
fiery.
Really,
and Gary's such a character. You're going to love him.
Yep.
He's actually. Tell a little bit about Gary before you go off.
We can't.
We got 2 minutes.
Go ahead.
But go ahead.
No, Gary is he's one of the guys that led the CIA mission against Osama bin Laden in 2003 at Tora Bora. On the ground, Gary's not only a CIA station chief, speaks several languages, but he's a trigger puller. So has worked in various capacities, been in the service, and retired now out. Went back as an advisor in Afghanistan. He's been all over the world. He's one of the most informed people on Islamic Jihad on the face of the earth. He will be here tomorrow, and he has this unique idea as to what President Obama and John Kerry must do with the nation of Iran in order to avoid what may be an imminent war with Iran in 2013. We'll see all of you guys tomorrow.
Goodbye. Thanks for tuning in to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Tom Trento can be reached at 561-319-5533 or tom@trentovision.tv. And tune in again weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.